What's up, family? This is your man, not your boy. Go black to Africa. Man, oh man. Got conversation today, y'all. And I want to say peace and blessing to each and every one of y'all. Want y'all to know that doing well, enjoying myself here in South Africa, doing a lot of observations, a lot of talking to people, a lot of just going around. Now I'm going to look into some properties for all of y'all. I'm going to look into maybe some other things, but today's topic, don't know if I saw the thumbnail or not, but I had to change the thumbnail because after just doing a quick check on when I was going to do this topic, because I'm seeing a lot of gays here in the Johannesburg area. And so, it rose my eyebrow and it's like, I had to ask a person a question. And I asked this brother a question when I was in the store. I'm shopping and everything. And so this young man approaches me. He's got an earring in one ear and another ear. And I'm like, okay, the person was assisting me with the jacket and everything. And somebody had, I guess, called for him to leave and go to the back. But I could not make out whether or not it was a male or female because he had feminine features, eyebrows were arched. I couldn't tell if he had foundation on or not. I could not, the voice was a little high and he had a little, feminine to him. So the guy who came over and he said, "Can I help you, brother?" Because he had called the dude back. And I said, "Yeah, and I didn't want to say he, but I was like, excuse me, brother. Was that a guy or was it a girl?" And he started laughing. He said, "Well, it's this. He did like, well, he wants to be a girl, and so he tries to be a girl and all." I said, "Oh well, it's a heathen. I mean, it don't matter what you want to be. It's who you were born and what you are, and that is he's a male." So I asked him. I said, because day before yesterday, I think it was day before 3 days ago. I'm sitting out and I'm doing a video, and these two gay guys walked by me. It didn't dawn on me until when they were walking and approaching me, and I'm videotaping. When they got up on me, the guy had a beard, and he wasn't really trying to disguise. Really, I guess he was a guy, but he had a mini skirt on and some girl outfit clothes on. Now the guy with him was definitely flaming, as we would call it in America. Um, and I was like, "Whoa, he's not even trying to hide anything." It was just like his beard. Well, it wasn't beard, but it was some hair under his chin. He had a mustache, um, and he had a mini skirt on and a girl top on. And I was like, "Okay, all right, well." So I started adding up, and I'm like, I'm seeing a lot of gays here in Johannesburg. So the guy today, when I asked him about the young man who helped me in the store, and I said, "Is this a thing that's in South Africa? That is this a tribal thing? Is this African belief and traditions?" And he said, "No." He said, and it's getting worse. He said, typically, he said, he said, what he's finding, this brother probably was close to 40, who's telling me this. He said, this whole thing, the internet and everything, and people seeing how, like America, he said this, America and these other places has these freedoms that they can do. And so then our people think that they can just go ahead and just be and do what they see other people do. This is quite interesting. So it was like, okay, but man, I'm seeing this way more often than I even see in America. In the black community now, when I go down to Atlanta, Georgia, well, I have an uncle there. When I went down there last time, that's the black mecca. And me being 56 years old, I have never seen in all my days how blacks just like that because of a European culture and this whole spirit coming upon a people that is changing the minds of people. And many people are falling by the wayside of beliefs and choosing to go that route. Now, let me put a disclaimer out here. I don't hate nobody. I do not believe in hating anybody. I believe this agenda is definitely an evil spirit that are overtaking the minds of the people. I don't care if you want to talk about homosexuality, bestiality, incest, murder, thieving, killing, you know, all of these things. These are all spirits of evilness, wickedness. And when I'm walking around and I'm like, I need to talk to people who come from these tribes. And I want to know because is this a tradition? And then I'm looking and researching on the internet. And like I said, I really approach stuff on the internet very cautious because there's a lot of garbage out there. But when I'm gonna show y'all some of these pictures. I want some of my South African brothers and sisters to call in and let me know, is this true or not? The Zulu tribe is accepting homosexuality because if you see the thumbnail I just put up, they are acting. I don't know if they're acting. I don't know if they are portraying. I don't know, but there's two men with a woman sitting there of two men who one is giving the other a ring, and then they another picture of them kissing, and that then it has also of the Zulu tribe that is standing. I'm not sure if it's standing up for the gays or whatever, but I got to show y'all the pictures. And so there's somebody says they got chemicals to induce gay lifestyle. I've read on that. I've read on the military, the U.S. military uh, have done studies, and we're looking at these biological, I guess, warfares of where you could um, give the enemy something and they will begin to take on tendencies or something like that. There was this study or this trial that was done in the military arsenal or something like that. Somebody said it's in the water. It's not in the water, it's in the spirit. Homosexuality has been around for ages, which we're going to get into that because it's even in the ancient writing scrolls, the scriptures. Y'all call it the Bible. But it is even in there thousands of years ago of this behavior. But I need my South African brothers and sisters from the Osos, the Khoi tribes, the Zulu tribes. I need my South African brothers and sisters to come on this platform and explain to me about, is it true that the gay lifestyle is accepted in these tribes? Let me put the link in. You got to be from South Africa. I need to hear from my brothers and sisters from South Africa. I need to know those who are part of these tribes. Those who are part of these tribes. I'm needing for South Africans to call in, help me understand this. Is this true? Or is this something new? Is this something that has just taken on here? Because I did research and I saw South Africa was uh, the first in the world, it said. There again, I approach information on Google very cautiously. But it says that South Africa was the first in the world to create a law for the protection, I think it was, of gays. Let me see this right here. Oh, we got somebody calling in. So when somebody call in, it means I can go ahead and look back to get these facts that are up there. We got a caller in. All right, brother. Who we? Oh, okay. We got Mbule Laelo. Hey, you welcome back, brother.
How are you, Mr. Go Black?
Man, I need your help, brother. I need your help.
I
You
am
part of the,
good,
are
man.
you part of the Zulu tribe?
Yeah, I am.
Give us a little background about you, first and foremost, how old you are, what tribe, what area you from, and then just give me some education from your point of view, because I know gonna be some other Zulu tribe people gonna call in probably too. But give me the 9 Providence tribe. Is it 9 tribes or is it like 1,000 tribes here in South Africa? I know there's 9 provinces, but what are some of? I know it's Zulu tribe. There's the Khoi people, the how you say it? Oh, so how you do that?
Yeah,
Help
the
me.
Tulsa.
Okay, give me a little background
Yeah.
about you so people can understand what your background and credibility is by you going to explain to me, is this accepted in the Zulu tribe? Go ahead.
Yes, bro. I'm from KZN, the province.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm 40 years old. I'm from northern KZN from Gwaceza. It's in the north of KwaZulu-Natal province. I am 43 years old and I'm into farming and mainly farming. Yes, I am a bit. I am Zulu, but I'm not very much cultural. You know, people have modernized and westernized. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah. So South Africa is a modern republic. It's a constitutional republic. Being a constitutional republic, it has a Bill of Rights, which it guarantees to all citizens. So, right to free speech, right to education, right to water, right to education, and so we live in a constitutional republic. And Zulus living in South Africa might have different opinions about many things. Could it be politics, social, culture? We don't hold the same views. So, being citizens of the country, we have to follow the laws of the country. So we have to, we are bound by the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. No matter how I personally feel, maybe I might have something against a certain religion or a certain lifestyle. I have no right to discriminate because the Constitution guarantees the rights of all people in this country. Now, you might culturally, I cannot say that homosexuality was there in the older days or it was practiced. But what we're talking about now, living in the modern times, we've just had to accept it. No, because
Okay, let me say this right here. Let me say this right here. Oh, go ahead and continue. Go ahead and continue. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you go ahead and finish. Let me know when you finish.
so us as as us as Africans and black people in South Africa, we accepted a constitutional republic which guarantees certain rights, because we as Africans did not have rights in this country. We had no rights. We could not vote. We could not move wherever we wanted to. We could not work the jobs we wanted to. We could not live where we wanted to. So when we had discussions of the new South Africa after Mandela was released, we said to ourselves that we will no longer discriminate on color, on gender, or religion, or whatever you want to be in this country. You are allowed to be, as long as you do not affect the rights of the next man. That was what we had been fighting the British and the Boers for. The rights of man, the Bill of Rights, so that everybody can live freely in this country. So we might, it might sound like we took some of the what you might say lifestyles of the westernization. South Africa is a westernized country. We cannot deny that. It's what we have inherited, but people are still able to practice their own culture. There are people who are still practicing the culture which their ancestors practiced. But we cannot discriminate against people who choose alternate lifestyles, because we know how it feels to be discriminated against. So that is my take on that, on your question.
Brother, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate the information you gave. You laid out some things there, and I'm going to share some things too, because you hit the nail and may actually prove my point. Here for the last couple of weeks, I have been talking about the system, and I've been talking about how the system is like a vacuum. It can suck, it will suck many of people into it. And what it will do is get people to kneel and to bow to its ways. It will cause people to surrender their moral values, their ethics, their consciousness way of being. This system, which is a European system, I'm going to just keep it straight, has done some things that even what you mentioned of the rights has sold a lie to every last one of us. And this is what it is. They want to do a so-called guilt trip in the minds and the psyche of us brothers and sisters, of being that we were discriminated against them, and we should know how it feels to be discriminated, that we should accept their culture, their agenda in this whole gay thing. But the problem of that thing, of this discrimination, number one, I have most Black folks, Africans, wherever you want to call yourself, really don't even discriminate against these people. But there is a broad difference between discrimination because the color and the way you were created, and then the discrimination of the choices you make that can cross the line of one's spiritual belief systems, or things that are of the natural things that have been created, and those want to push ways to get you to submit to their own way of lifestyle, to throw in your face that we want to write a constitution in order to protect our lifestyle or our culture, but they have done away with so much of your culture and want you, or those here in South Africa, around the world, Africa and America, around the world, want you to submit only to their way, but give you just a little taste of what you would call rights. This is the bamboozle, the wool over the eyes game that the system plays. And
Can I
for
come
any,
in there, brother?
huh?
Can I please come in there?
No, hold up. Let me finish, brother. I gave you your time. All right. Hold on a second. I'm the host here. All right. Come on, man. I gave you 5 minutes. I'm only 2 minutes in. All right. So hold your thought like I was holding my thought. We have to get away from the mindset of thinking that man's laws and their rules usurps or overrides God's laws. We have to even stop thinking that other people's culture should apply to our culture. Why is it that we, as people of African descent, always surrender and gives up everything about ourselves and embrace everybody else's, and nobody wants to try to embrace ours? And then you have these people who come and create laws to protect their culture, but don't give a hoot about our culture. Go ahead on, my brother.
But brother, you have to understand the history of South Africa. South Africa, as it is now, is not only a making of Africans. What you see South Africa is now is the result of history. We have Europeans, we've got Asians, we've got mixed people who are here now. The democratic system in South Africa we inherited was a negotiated system. Black people got power by negotiation. We did fight the Boers to a standstill, and we sat down and we negotiated power. And what came with negotiation was a give and take. You know, the Boers said we want this, the black people said we want this. The Boers said we want this, and the black people. We did not defeat we did not defeat the Boers militarily. It was through a negotiated settlement. That's what South Africa is. You cannot expect South Africa to reflect only African values when you've got Europeans, Asians, and mixed race people in this country.
Well, you know, it's mighty funny. America does it. America will hold true to what she or the Europeans' culture lifestyle is and have a disregard for everybody else. You see, I cannot bring in my African culture into America or spirituality, let's just say. If I have to bow down to the rules of America. So I have to let go of those old schools of beliefs. If I'm coming from Africa, and let's just say we have an African community in America. And let's just say we are Zulu tribe and we deal with our own in a certain way because of our spiritual beliefs. No, sorry. Your rules and your ways of your traditions will not be accepted in America. You must follow the laws of the land given by America that you have to submit to. Even though all these other countries come in, you still will be subject to the laws of America. It will not allow the Chinaman can't bring its rules in and change up stuff. The Africans can't, the Spaniards can't. Nobody's going to come in and bend the Constitution. Now, the amazing thing I hear about you South Africans about your Constitution is y'all act like y'all the ones who had the influence over your Constitution. When I see nothing but all European mindset or mentalities in that, especially when it comes to this gay thing.
No, brother, I think you are you know only the surface of the issue. You only know the surface of the issue.
Then let's go deeper then.
You only know the surface of the issue, my brother. The Constitution of the Republic of South Africa was negotiated by black and white.
Yes.
And wait a minute. The ANC, which was representing the black people, had a say. Now we can say, I can argue that we did not get everything we wanted, right? Like people usually say, we did not get the economy, we did not get the land, but it was a negotiated settlement. We could not get everything.
I
We could
understand.
not get everything. That you have to understand that we could not get everything because the nationalists, the Boers, were killing people. There was violence on the street. There was blood on the street. They were very armed. America had armed South Africa. South Africa was a nuclear power. Do you know that the nationalists, the Boers had nuclear weapons? They had gold. They
They
had
had gold.
they
They got gold from where? Here.
they owned the mines. We were negotiating with people who were rich and very well armed, and they had big supporters. America was supporting the national government.
Of course. Now hold on a second.
So
Hold
when,
that thought real quick. Hold that thought real quick. I need for other tribes of South Africa to call in about whether or not your tribes to this day agree or support the LGBT or gay lifestyle. Please, those who are in South Africa, I'm only looking for those who are in South Africa who are very knowledgeable of their tribes and where they stand, to please call in, man or woman. You can call in so that you can educate us. Go ahead on, Mbulelo.
so my brother, what you come and see in South Africa now, right now, is something which was negotiated. When you talk about land, when you talk about the economy, it's something which was negotiated. White people wanted to keep the land. White people wanted to keep the economy. Okay, we could not take it away from them. If we were to take everything from white people, this country would have been destroyed. They would have destroyed the country. And the Americans, you as a former U.S. Army officer, were you in the Army,
Air Force.
Air Force? You would have been dropping bombs on us for fighting white people. You
True.
yourself, you would have
Yes.
helped them. So we cannot destroy our country just like that. We have to think of the future people. Mandela fought his fight. The next generation fight his fight. The next generation fight his fight until we
Mbulelo,
cannot get it all.
Mbulelo, I totally agree with you. The only thing that I have a hang up on is one word you're saying is negotiations. It is not in a negotiation when you have a gun pointed at a person's head and say, let's negotiate these terms. That's not in a negotiation to me. You were over South Africa. You're absolutely right, my brother, was overpowered. You was overpowered with force or military or weaponry that South Africans didn't have no choice. It wasn't a negotiation. It was either our way or die way. That's the only thing that I have a hang up in what you're saying. I know about the negotiations. I know that Mandela was powerless. I know he knew if it was a disagreement, there would be a war on his hands and people would suffer greatly. And so I totally agree with you, but I do not like the word negotiation. It's not a
Okay, my
negotiation.
brother. The thing is, Mandela was under pressure for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
Black South Africans were poor.
Yep.
Black South
No, I
Africans
wouldn't
were
say they were
dying.
poor. They weren't poor, but go ahead.
They were poor. There was war going on in the locations, especially in my province. In my province, when I was growing up, houses were burning, people were dying in numbers.
Who was burning the
So
houses?
there was war, a low intensity war in my province, and people were dying in numbers. So pressure on Mandela to negotiate was there because he could not, as a leader, he could not stand and watch the people die and watch the people starve.
Yeah,
He had to do something. Something had to be done.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
So what you see in South Africa right now, you may talk about the land, you talk about the economy, you talk about gays and the rights of gays. We had to guarantee a constitution. You know,
You keep
The,
saying
well,
we.
we, the black people, had to assure the white people that we will not have arbitrary power. We had to have a constitution ruling the country, which means even if we had a majority, we could not just do as we please. We had to obey a constitution. It was a constitutional republic.
which
So
was
what
ran
you see
by
right now,
which was controlled and ran by the Europeans.
yeah, I won't say controlled and ran by Europeans. The constitution guaranteed the rights of Europeans. The constitution guaranteed the rights of Europeans.
Okay,
My brother, it
and
was
who was responsible for writing and putting that constitution in place?
it was written by it was a negotiated constitution. The whites got what they wanted, a little bit, not everything. Blacks got what they wanted, a little bit, not everything.
You believe that
I believe what?
the whites got what they wanted and the blacks got what they wanted, but both sides didn't get some things that they wanted.
Yeah, the whites got what they wanted. We got political power, but we did not get economic power.
Absolutely. So economic power is more powerful than political power.
Yeah.
So you got nothing. What good is it to have a constitutional power or a political power when economical power it dominates political power?
I
So
understand that.
in other words, yeah, it sounds like that, y'all negotiated and both sides were able to, wars ended and people's lives were able to be saved or what have you. And I get that, and so I don't want to be insensitive in that area. But what I'm saying is that I don't understand how, when you are saying that these constitutional laws that have been put in place, like the gay rights and discriminations or whatever it might be, all these things that within it, which was not a influence by the African, it was predominantly an influence by the Europeans, that the Africans, for whatever reason, has to submit to agree with the LGBT lifestyle. Nothing said, there's no law says you have to agree with it. It just says discriminate. I don't discriminate. Well, I do discriminate against gays at times. And what do I mean by discriminate? My personal business, right? I didn't hire gay people. I didn't want that spirit in my shop, and I didn't have to. I didn't have to. And then though that they could say, well, you discriminate against me because I was gay. No, hold up. If my religious beliefs are against, based upon what the scriptures, the scrolls, and the ancient writings says, that this is a sin and that you shall not partake in this, which I'll show you all here in a minute, then what gives America the right to usurp that authority that was given to me by God? That I have to follow man's law? I'm sorry. God's law comes first before man's law, and I will not submit to anything that is contrary to it. Now, I'm not
But
going
that,
out the way to bash gay people. I'm not going to disrespect them. I'm not going to put harm to them. I'm not going to kill. No, I'm not going to do none of that. But when it's
but
on my
that,
turn, no.
but my brother, that is where you and I differ.
Yeah,
We
because
were not worried about
you
what is
submitted.
going on in heaven. We were worried what was going on the ground, what was going on in the country. People were dying. That is what we were worried about. We were not worried about what God was thinking. We were worried
If
that
you,
there were people dying, there were starving people, there were hungry
yeah,
people.
yeah,
So we
yeah,
had to fix that. That is what we had
yeah.
to fix.
I understand. Like I said, I get it and I understand. I mean, but there again, that has nothing to do with accepting and becoming gay just because they say we want these rights in the Constitution. That don't mean
I'm
you
not gay,
have
my
to.
brother. I'm not gay, but I accept.
I'm not saying you. I'm saying that I'm seeing from what I'm told, and I know that yes, when you give these rights given by the Europeans who wants this in place, which they wrote in 1996 that this protection of the gay lifestyle in South Africa, that many of us subscribed and fell on board with this thing, and we see more of us that's subscribing to a gay lifestyle. But the law doesn't say that you have to become it. But the problem of it is that you all agreed to that spirit, which is now infiltrated into the African communities, which you're going to see it just like in America some years here to come.
My brother, I'm wary of arguing on theology and spiritualism, because
there's no need to argue.
We all believe in different deities. We all believe in different gods. We believe in different religion. We believe in different ways of living. So what you believe in your God and your spirituality might not actually what I believe.
True. That is true. Absolutely true. So what does the Zulu believe in? What does the Zulu believe in?
What do the Zulu believe in?
Do the Zulu believe that a man was born to be with another man?
No, my brother.
Okay, come on, let's answer these questions. Does the Zulu history show that? You mean to tell me Shaka Zulu, he was for, and the tribes people and your ancestors back then agreed in spiritual, their religion, their God, whatever, that man can marry another man?
No, my brother, it did not happen. It did not happen at the time.
Oh, so things changed according to what the pressures were put upon y'all to write this constitution. Now we see that even the Zulu is changing their ways because of a system, a spirit that is in place, that's subscribing and is slowly overtaking you all spiritual belief, and you're subscribing to the system's beliefs.
No.
Talk about everybody got different beliefs and all that right there, but it's mighty funny. I said this day, it's mighty funny we always give up our culture to embrace other people's culture. Why is that?
We haven't given up on our culture.
I just asked you about the Zulu gay. Okay, listen, hold on a second. Let me tell me this right here. I don't know. I'm gonna show y'all this. Let me share my screen. Now you tell me, is this true or not? You said you Zulu. And I know y'all get Zulu, the big events coming for the Zulus here in September. That I'm gonna come back here. I don't know now, but I'm supposed to come back and for them to initiate the new king and all that right there. But let me show you this, and you tell me, is this Zulu? Is this Zulu? Right
no,
there.
my brother. Listen, what I'm saying, the culture hasn't changed much.
The culture what?
The culture hasn't changed much.
Is this Zulu men tribe? Is this the Zulu? They accept this.
No. These are two individuals or three individuals doing their own thing. They are like, I think in South Africa you've got about 8 to 10 million Zulus. That does not represent all of them. These are people choosing their own lifestyle.
Okay. This is like I said, I saw this on the internet, and I approach stuff on the internet very cautious, because I know that sometimes those who come into Africa, they can depict and take pictures and put any caption on it. So this could be a celebration. This is Zulu King enrages gay community. This right here says,
what I'm saying is, obviously, we are, as I'm saying, there's like 10 million of us in South Africa. You will find gay people within Zulu culture, within the Zulu speaking people. You will find gay people, but the culture does not engage with homosexuality much.
You said the culture does not.
No.
So these are that's why I'm asking the question, because I don't want to offend. I'm just trying to get educated here, because I'm seeing there's pretty good number of gays that are around what I'm seeing as I go around here, and I'm kind of curious, is this accepted? Has this spread over into the villages, and is it condoned? Is it allowed? Is this something that is live and well? And because I've defended African culture for many of years, and I'm like, some people try to say, "Oh, gay's been around in Africa forever, this and that." And there's some tribes that have been gay, this and that. I'm like, well, I can't speak. There's people that they like to carry on that. Tell me who. Nobody knows who, what tribe, whatever, and nobody really knows that history. But there's people who wants to defend their own gay sexualities to say there is. But when I see this here in South Africa, I want to know the answer about the tribes. Is this accepted in the Zulu tribe? And you're the one calling in about Zulu. You're 43 years old, and you said no. These are just individuals. And then you said that, everybody has a different spiritual belief of God, this and that. Well, what about the Zulus? What does the Zulus teach today as a whole? You keep saying there's 6 million Zulus. And so each Zulu, they're different. Okay, so you mean, okay, I get that. I mean, you could have different sects of Zulus. So you saying there's different beliefs within each Zulu. I thought Zulus were like, we all come together as one and we're under, the king, and we abide by these certain rules and these beliefs and these moral values. You're saying that's not the case.
Brad, you are talking about too many things right now. You're talking about spirituality. You're talking about religion. You're talking about culture. You're talking about society. You're talking about individual choice. You're talking about the laws. The laws of the country are different from the culture.
That's what I was never. You brought the law in. I didn't bring the law. My thing is, my title is, what do the South African tribes say about gay lifestyle, and and then also the other thing is, what is a woman? So you brought up the Constitution. You brought all that up. I didn't bring that up. I'm trying to figure out, what does the Zulu say? What does the Osis? How you say it? I can't do it now. Coases or whatever. How you say it?
Tulsa.
Kosa. Okay. Kosa.
Tulsa.
Kosa. Okay. Kosa. Sorry for me. I got to practice that. Or the other tribes. I want each person who's here, who's in South Africa and part of affiliated with the tribe. What does your tribe say? Is this accepted? Let me just be educated. Because I don't know everything. Like people say, you need to do your research, go black, this and that. Okay, I'll be trying to do my research, and I want to hear from you all. So I was asking that simple question: what does the Zulu say? You brought up the laws, the constitutions, what happened in the past, the wars. I didn't. I'm just trying to figure out what the Zulu say. I don't care about what the system says.
Yeah, I get you, my brother. But now you cannot separate the fact that we are citizens of the country, right? We are citizens of the country. We have to obey the laws of the country.
No, you don't. You don't.
We
Y'all
don't.
don't do it every day. You don't do it every day.
But we should.
Well, what I'm saying by that, this is what I'm saying, was obeying the law. The law, there again, the law is saying that one should not discriminate against gays. Okay. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking
Yeah.
about, because you keep bringing that up. I'm talking about, what does the Zulu say? The law says no discrimination. It don't say you have to accept or become or agree with homosexuality. It doesn't say that, to my knowledge.
Yeah,
Because I'm
it
quite sure
says
y'all
that
mirror everything off of America, even though y'all were the first to. Y'all in 2006, y'all agreed to gay marriage here in this country, according to the Wikipedia, which is, I approach softly on that too, cautiously. But I'm saying, what does the Zulu say? We got somebody else coming in, Mbulelo. Let's
thank
see
you,
what
my
they got to
brother.
say. Thank you. Take care. Timba, what's up, my brother? Demba,
Sure, how's it, brother?
how are you doing, brother?
How are you doing, my brother?
Good. Please share with us how old
How
you
are you
are,
doing,
where
brother?
you're from, and what tribe you belong to.
Yeah, I'm fine, brother.
Okay, we got a big delay here.
I'm 35, I'm from KZN, and I belong to the Zulu tribe.
Okay, so please tell us,
Are you hearing me,
um,
brother?
where the
Hello?
Zulu tribe stand in this gay agenda thing. Where do they
Do you
stand
hear
with
me?
this? I'm gonna have to, Timbo, you're gonna have to call back in because there's too long of a delay. Too long of a delay. So you have to call back in and see if we get a better connection. But yeah, I want you, brothers and sisters. The link is in the chat. I need every African brothers and sister out there to call in who's part of these different tribes. And let's talk about what I just need. You gotta be from South Africa, you gotta be part of one of the tribes. And I want to hear where's the stance of your tribe when it comes to the gay community? Do they subscribe to it? Are they object to it? Is it something that they're like, yo, this is something that we don't stand for? Or is it something that has been, received and they're complying to or whatever? Please call in. The link is in the chat because my thing is right here. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. And just because the law, you know what I love? See, many people object to the creator, the almighty, the Yahshua, the Yahweh, the what the reason why I subscribe to that over really this world system is because it makes all the sense in the world. In actuality, if people would do their research, they will find back in the day, most of the laws were created out of the Bible. And I don't even like to say the word Bible. So let's go ahead and bring in our other guest right here, Mlunda, 90. What's happening, my brother?
Hi, how's it, guy? I'm
Man, I'm
good, thank
doing great, man. Help me out, Lunda. Let
you.
us know, man, how old you are, what tribe you are, where you are from South Africa, please. And let
Sure
us
thing,
know what's the stands on this whole thing.
sure. So my name is Mlu Cheze. That's the nickname Umluda. I'm 32 years old from Pietermaritzburg. I'm currently visiting Durban on some work, so I'm in a hotel right now. Um, yeah, I'm Zulu. I like what the other brother was saying just before. I think you'll find that as a tribe or as a kingdom, I prefer kingdom to tribe. Or
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
kingdom, we are very rambunctious. We are very opinionated, which is one of the things I like about my brothers. I think some of the Americans have that too, which makes us identify a lot with you guys. In terms of the topic is do we accept or do we assimilate with the homosexual, transsexual, and all of this new age? The short answer is no. That's a definite no. From our homes, we are taught this. But unfortunately, the loudest voices often don't represent the masses because the media has over the years been pulled away. We are now getting things that we, the people, don't want, but they're force fed on our younger generation who are mentally, vulnerable to these ideas. So if you're like 6 years old and you're shown a gay guy, by the time you're 10, you're obviously going to be more, susceptible to when you see a gay guy in person. You're not as shocked as myself, who's 32, who grew up when seeing that thing was something that would make you park your car and just be like, oh, okay. Because I being of the age I am, grew up in the 90s. I remember seeing on TV the first time we saw this thing, it was a shock to everyone in the house. Like people would up and would be like, why are there two dudes kissing? And we'd boycott. But over the years, I think the term that the Americans have is a psyop, psychological operation, where they say something so often and so relentlessly that speaking against it is emotionally exhausting. We have spoken up against it. The normal citizens, especially the Zulu tribe, as you said, you know our history briefly of King Shaka and all the great kings that have led us up until now. We are very clear, but I think we are tired of debating against the wind, because as much as we can win individual debates, the best of us aren't shown in those debates. And to your second question, what is a woman? That's an interesting conversation, because we listen to some of your colleagues in America where they have this debate, and it's a very muddy conversation. But for us, I think if you are being rational from a place of honesty, we know what a woman is. Now, I, as a man born with a Y chromosome, no matter how much I love Beyonce or Nicki Minaj, cannot then become her just because I like something about her or I dislike something about myself. Now, there are lots of issues that can lead a person to say, let me go. Like, we don't doubt that they believe these things. We don't doubt that they take it seriously. I mean, if you're going to go through surgery, you must be serious about your position. But we cannot then insult women by saying being a woman is just a lack of a penis, or by saying being a woman is something superficial or something that you can paint on and remove at a whim. Being a woman is sacred to us as Zulus. We know what a woman is to our society. We value them. That's why when a woman leads, there are certain things that we expect as outcomes. But in this culture, it's sort of signaling. I think it's called virtue signaling, where now you are made to sound a certain way in order to sound smart. And there are these things that people who are not necessarily intelligent can basically shoot out at you that are loaded, so that when you try and address certain issues, you have to address how ignorant you sound long before you get to how wrong the person you're addressing is. So I'm not going to be too long about it, but I think the position of the masses is this. The position of those who aren't being allowed onto the main discussion is this. We know what's right. We believe it, and we teach our children this. But unfortunately, everything around them, from preschool right up until university, there is a concerted effort to destabilize their family unit, because the power lies in the family unit, and you cannot have a family without the feminine and the masculine. That's just the bottom line. Thank you.
Hold that thought. Okay, I appreciate that, Melinda. Let me say this right here to the people out here. I'm putting the link in the chat. If you call in, you must show your face. Typically, I'm going to hold people accountable instead of blurting things behind the scenes and want to be argumentative or hateful or what have you. You have to show your face if you want to speak. You put your light on there, Linda. You was good with it though. You was good. It's okay. I can see, man, who you were. But because my thing is, this discussion is about adults, and we want to really have a good, genuine conversation. This is not about bashing anybody who's in the gay community. This is not about trying to push hate or anything against somebody who might happen to be living in that lifestyle. But you mentioned something in Lunda that, you said sometimes you get exhausted for fighting against various things. I don't believe that we should fight against it. It's a mighty funny that the LGBT agenda fights to try to get its way in everybody's door, and fights to get in all the schools, fights to get in movies and TVs and commercials. It fights. What we don't need to fight. All we need to do is stand up for what is right. That's it. We don't need to do no marching and fighting against no communities. I mean, if this going to push its way through its so-called school systems or the TVs and stuff, we can always sever the ties and do our own. I mean, my thing is that problem of it is that we become complacent. We zip our lip when it presses upon, gets in our inner circle, and say nothing. Why is it that the minority of those who this LGBT organization has all the power to infiltrate into every aspect of life where we are, when the majority will admit that they don't subscribe to such a teaching? But then we become powerless when we zip our lip because we get so afraid to say anything because the way I'm gonna speak like in America, if you are in the public eye, if you are a figurehead, you can ruin your career by just talking against the gay community. And this is where we've become. It's good to see some people stand up and say, no, I'm not afraid, because it's not personally attack against an individual. It's this right here is an attack against an organization that has an intent, ill will to try to get everybody to accept. People got to realize this LGBTQ, elemental P, QRSTUV, let me finish it, WXYZ is an outright attack on the youth. In order for it to breathe and survive, it must get the youth. It must get those who are young, who are confused, don't know which way they go. They have definitions like if you are at 12 years old and you don't have feelings for a boy or girl, you're in this category. If you have not had sex at this, then you fall in this category. And these impressionable minds that sit here that takes this in and will unbeknownst to them because they're impressionable, will subscribe to these letters within that organization. And then what it does is it reels them in to fit into one of these categories and twists and brings confusion.
That's true. And just to add to that, there are effects. Like I've been young, I went to varsity. People that are in this lifestyle aren't as happy. They know how to come across as happy. But there are certain things that happen to your mind and brain. These things are traumatic. So if you're going to adopt it, and you said something very crucial, that they attack the 12-year-olds, and they tell a 12-year-old who hasn't even come into adolescence yet that, no, listen, I know you've got a little wee-wee, but you're a girl. It'll mess with him for life, And those traumatic events, they make them want to fight battles that aren't really there. They fight demons that don't exist. Like I was just having this discussion the other day about weddings, about marriage. Marriage is a spiritual ritual. It's a spiritual domain. It's not a pageantry. It's not something you do for tax benefits, right? You can have a boyfriend, but the moment they start trying to get into marriage, they're basically attacking the owner of marriage, which is God, which is, the culture, in my culture especially. Marriage is between a man, a woman, united in spirit, because for the purpose of increasing the nation. Our culture doesn't romanticize it so much, but you don't get married unless you're increasing your father's house. That's how we say it. You call a girl, you say, come and help me increase my father's house. Now, if two women are fighting to get married, it speaks a very different dialect. So I'm just going to say shortly that it is an attack on the vulnerable, and it scars them. And then it creates these citizens who are fighting people who have no idea who they are, calling us all sorts of phobes, when in fact we're looking at the ramifications of how they are reacting to their own trauma. They're destroying the very culture that they are part of just because it feels good to fight, as you were saying. It feels good to say, don't tread on me. But at the same time, you're destroying your future. Because if there are no more heterosexual marriages, this stuff does not lead to a strong nation. A strong nation needs a father in the house, it needs a mother in the house, and you get that through marriage. As much as cohabitation is not bad, but the purpose of marriage in my culture, the Zulu culture, was to increase the family, was to create warriors and skilled people that will join the kingdom and help be its walls and its protectors and the culture. So the farmers will come from these families. But if I'm raised by my mother and I don't know my father, let alone if I'm raised by two women and I'm a man, I'm in a very tough place of having to find masculinity from a vacuum. And that can be very dangerous. I'd like to step down before maybe I deprive others of the platform.
You hit some very important points, man. I tell you, you're a very bright young man there, and my thing, like I told the brother today in the store when he was telling me that this young man wants to be a woman, and he was just sharing with me that he's South African. He was sharing that the youth sees these things on these platforms and things and want to be like or subscribe to. And when I left, I said, brother, be strong in the spirit, because this spirit is strong and it's here to try to dominate and control. And my thing is that we have to be strong. There are many people who will lay down their own moral belief systems for the sake of a system by those who are in charge and in control, to be able to be part of or whatever. It's amazing how we as a people will just give up our culture and bring in another person's culture or people's culture. Let me pass the mic over to Timba. Timba, let me take you off mute here. Brother Malunda, you are welcome to stay if you want to and add in the conversation here. I'm going to be bringing some things else up here in this subject matter. But Timba, you are on the mic. How you doing? Let's see how your connection is this go round.
I'm doing well, and you, brother?
I'm doing well. You had mentioned that you're part of the Zulu tribe. We get the Zulu tribe. How many other tribes are here in South Africa? Because only the Zulu tribes call it in.
I think we're infatuated with the idea of uniting.
Okay. Yeah, maybe the other ones are just maybe they don't know, or maybe they stand in a different place. Timba, what did you have for us today?
Yeah, no, what I can say, brother, is that all our tribes do have gays, do have gay people, but our cultures do not.
AIDS.
All our African cultures in South Africa do have gay people.
Okay.
But yes, but they do not condone that kind of lifestyle. But there's nothing we can do, because we have a constitution that is very inclusive to everybody. Everybody is allowed to do whatever they like. So another thing, yes, according to religion, it is a sin, but unfortunately you cannot run a country through religion, because people fall under different religions. You see. Yes. It might be
that's
wrong.
the problem that we find. That's the problem that I find, is that when you don't have a spiritual God fearing country, anything goes. And when I say God, I say that very loosely with the words, because I don't like the word, because that was a European word. It's an English word. It's not a Yeshua, and it's not a word that might be of Hebraic language, or even other languages. But I'm gonna say this right here, Tim. But let me ask you this question. So, do you think that the tribes should lay down their old schools of belief systems and subscribe to a constitutional belief systems of what those who are in power say that should be? Or do you think they should, say this is where we as a people will stand? I mean, I'm starting to lose faith in this Zulu tribe now, because if the Zulu tribe now has become even part of the political arena, which I know there are those who are in the ANC and are affiliated, because that's where they come out of. But what I'm saying is the fact that, doesn't the Zulu tribe, I mean, you got a king, and don't you have, spiritual, moral belief systems that supposedly are going to stand and not be shaken or moved, or, I mean, how is that? Do you see a rapid change in the Zulu nation?
We do have our belief systems. We believe that families, there should be continuity. Children should be born, families should continue to exist. So families cannot continue to exist under this gay thing. But there's nothing we can do. As tribes, we can continue teaching our children. But if they choose to be that thing, there's nothing you can do, brother, unfortunately.
True. There's nothing you can do if a person chooses to do something, but you can stand for what's right in your household. The government has no power of what you do and raise in your household. It shouldn't. Let me say that.
Yes,
Sometimes
yes, I
governments do.
agree.
It
I
shouldn't.
agree.
But what I like, there's this, I can find this in the scrolls and scriptures of the government intruding on people's belief systems where, there are people who, even to this day, I mean, who will stand up for what is right. There are people who will not allow the system, to include myself, to change where I am on what I believe the Most High have put in place in nature on this earth for man and woman to be together. If the gay community can stand and say it's okay to be gay, why can't I stand up and say, sorry, disagree with you? It is God's will for man and woman to be together, nobody else.
Yes,
So,
you can
yes,
do it. You can do
go
it in
ahead.
your household. You can do it in your household, but when you go out to the community, you can't, because now you are with other people. They're different people. You see.
True. That's why it says this is a wicked world. This is a wicked world we live in. And it says you should not be part of this world, for this world is your enemy. And most people like, oh, there he goes. He's talking that spirituality stuff, this and that. But it's mighty funny that even if we just take a look at, are we really living our own life freely without the influences of the system that puts upon us and transform our mindset to be the way it wants? Most people don't see that they are a product of the system. That's the sad part of it, that people aren't even really living their free life. And to me, those things that have been put in place by the creator being natural is freedom. Let's let Basil in. Basil Dixon, what's good with you, brother?
I'm good, thanks in you, brother. Thank you for
I'm
having me.
doing well. Please tell us where you from, how old you are, what tribe you belong to.
I belong to the Tonga tribe. I'm from Johannesburg East,
You
and
okay?
I'm 36 years old.
You what?
36 years old.
Okay, please, what's the name of the tribe again?
Tonga.
The Tonga tribe. Please tell us a little bit about the Tonga tribe and where do they stand on this subject matter?
Well, it's actually almost the same, almost identical as the Zulu tribe. So what happens is, in our communities, in most cases, we don't subscribe to gay people. We don't tolerate such behaviors. It's not like we don't. It's just like you don't really fit to our community when you dealing with those kind of people. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what happens is, if you're a member of a certain family, most of the families that we have in my tribe, because it's almost the same as the Zulu tribe. So when you come with your gay stories, we feel like, okay, you subscribe to these things because you see them on TV all the time. It's influenced from the European movies and American stuff. So we just think maybe you're just trying to, I don't know, to live lavishly in a way. But then, yeah, most of the time, no, you don't. You not really get accepted into the communities when you do this gay things, behave like in that kind of manner. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate it. So let me ask you this right here. Do you feel there are pressures that your tribe or even yourself or others maybe that you know of feel as though that they should surrender their belief systems and just accept the fact that, hey, it's just the way it is?
No. The way I grew up and how I came up from back in the day, it's difficult to actually mingle with gay communities, those kind of people. You know what I'm saying? So we don't, even the way I was raised, my parents they taught us, the scriptures about Sodom and Gomorrah. So yeah, we just thought it was like a sort of like a taboo when we were growing up. We thought, okay, no, this is God didn't want. It was condemned from back in the day. A natural thing is to just have a wife and have kids and start a family. Just the natural way. That's what we were taught, a Christian way, in fact. So when we saw this gay agenda being pushed around, it was seen as a taboo.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Cheers says here, how are you going to go to South Africa, enjoy the Western luxuries, and then look down on their politics? I'm not looking down on the politics. I'm asking about the tribes. Now,
Yeah, you trying
I'm not trying
actually.
to buck. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about this person here named Cheers. I'm referring
Oh,
to this that I put up on the screen here. Cheers. Look, I want you to understand is the fact that no, I'm asking, and I want to get educated. Is this a tribal way of life now? Is this something that is being accepted? Is this something that they've subscribed to? If you want to say politics, that this is what the tribes accept. And because I just showed this picture of two Zulu men getting married to one another. So I'm trying to get educated and I want to bring the education to other people. That's why I'm only letting those who are from South Africa, from these different tribes, to come and share. What else you got to add, Basil?
yeah, no, I'm just saying no. I think the pictures that you saw, it's actually been promoted on some sort of mainstream platform, media platform, because we don't
Yeah,
see that often. To be honest, we don't see that often around in the
yeah.
street. People, especially wearing traditional attire, promoting the gay agenda. You don't see that quite often, eh?
I
Not at
figured,
all.
there's one thing that I noticed, and that's why I showed the picture in order for some of the Zulu to say, is this really Zulu? Is this going on? Are they marrying people? Because I do know that there are those who can come in Africa with some money and pay somebody to portray different things, and then they walk away and put it on Google and say, see, the Zulu tribe, they are marrying one another and it's accepted in the tribe. So I had to ask this question to those out there. Is this true? Is this accepted? Is this a festival? Is this ceremonies that are happening within the Zulu tribe? I got to go to the horse's mouth. I can't assume anything. So you're saying, no, this is not something that actually is accepted and that you see that is actually being performed here, what we would think probably on a day-to-day basis.
No, you don't see that a lot. That picture that you showed could be happening somewhere out there, but then we don't really promote it. You can't see. I've never seen a person on the street holding hands with another man wearing a traditional attire. That attire is highly respected. You can't be wearing that and walking around gallivanting on the street wearing a traditional Zulu attire, holding hands with another man. Hey, you would even get a beating with this like proud Zulu man, The people
Yeah,
can beat you down when you walk down the street holding hands with another man like that. That's a disgrace. It's seen as a disgrace. Actually.
that's what I heard about that. Matter of fact, when me and my wife went here to Soweto, and you had some guys out there performing, trying to get money, and they had on some Zulu tribes outfits. And so the guide who was taking us around, he said, some of these people that be out here tries to portray Zulu. He said you can tell the difference between the original attire and those that are just not even original. He said, if you know the Zulu tribes outfits and stuff, these jokers are very heavy. They're authentic, and they're not these cheap little materials made by, you can go in any store and just throw on an outfit.
Yeah.
But they also did say that, yes, Zulu there's a pride when it comes to those who are of Zulu tribe, or any tribe, there's a pride that comes to it. And so, and I get it, but there again, I'm seeing the gay lifestyle here in South Africa, and what I see and I hear, I wanted to have a show and ask the question: is this something accepted within the African tribal community? Let's move on to our brother out here, Zukisani. Let me take you off mute.
Hey, good evening. How are you guys? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, brother. Please let us know where in South Africa you're from, how old you are, and what tribe you belong to.
I'm from Port Elizabeth, now known as Gqeberha. I'm Xhosa. And
all right, we got a Xhosa in the house. Yes,
it's
okay.
completely unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable. Like you can't even bring it up amongst our elders. You can't. And for example, I like what this gentleman said. He said, walking down a street in Zulu attire, holding hands, it's a death sentence in our communities. That's the reality of what it actually is. He put it lightly. It's a death sentence. And including with my community. In my community, I'm not speaking for all Xhosas, but in my Xhosa community, because the previous gentleman that you spoke to, you asked him about the Zulu community, and all he was able to tell you was about 10 million Zulu people. With the Xhosas, there are different tribes within the Xhosa community. So there are different Xhosas within our Xhosa community, right? Like in the past, there would be the main king and there would be chiefs. And all those chiefs, they had their own nation within the Xhosas, right? So for us, fortunately for my community and my Xhosa community, I could actually say it's almost like my elders, they foresaw these things they're going to happen. Because for us to become a man, there are certain stages that you have to pass through. And during that process, when you are a young man and you're passing through those stages, it's a bunch of tests that you have to pass. I can't disclose everything to you because that would be against my tradition and my people, because it's our secrets, right? So with that being said, it's like circumcision is well known within the Xhosa community. Just one example to make, to speak out. Young boys, they have to go to the bush and they have to go and get circumcised in the bush. It is there when our community decides who is man enough to wear the Xhosa hat or the Xhosa crown as a young male. Some males, they don't pass that test. Some of them, they go there, they become circumcised, but they don't leave the bush as men. So there are those things that people do not understand. Not because you just got circumcised, you are a man. It doesn't work like that. And within the men, when the men do men things in the community and they are back with the general population, back with their families, men are separated from the boys. The boys, they will eat over there. The men will eat over there. The ones that are unacceptable or unfavorable in our community, there's no room for them amongst the men. So it's very clear when it comes to us as to how we deal with gay people or people, not necessarily that are gay, but even men that don't behave like men. There's no room for them in our society. So we don't entertain them and we don't even sit with them. That's the reality from my part of the world.
Wow, you dropped some gold gems in there, because that's the information I would like to hear. Getting a little bit of information on some of your tribes and your traditions and stuff like that, because this is what I am known to have researched in my travels. 15 countries I've been to. I'm researching more and more of the thousands of tribes in Africa, but that bringing up a child, a boy, into a manhood, putting him through the test and showing him that who he is first and foremost, not leaving it for him to make the decision, but putting him through the test to see, is he ready to become a man. That's something that I love and hold near and dear, that when I come up, it was explained to me, I am a boy. That thing between my legs distinguished that I am a boy, and that a girl has the opposite, and knew at a very young age. My mama, my daddy, they taught us those things. And sad to say, teachings ain't going too far today, where we're leaving our children to go ahead and make those decisions because of those systems that we're in. So I appreciate you for that information and giving it to us. We're going to pass that mic over to our first sister of the night, Cindy. I'm thinking what it is. How are we doing, my sister?
I'm doing well. I'm not sure if the sound is good on your end, because as soon as I entered StreamYard, my volume just went down. Are you able? Am I audible?
And clear. You're loud and clear.
Great.
Please tell us about
welcome to South Africa. Go Black. I'm the lady that emailed you over the weekend. I was at the same coffee shop as the gentleman that's trying to change Africa. Yes, and you guys were shooting a video there. and I
Okay.
couldn't catch you because I had to dash out quickly. But
What
long
tribe are
story
you from?
short,
Where are you from?
as I
My
had
sister.
yeah,
How old are you? How old are you? Where are you from? And what
I'm
tribe
40,
you are?
40, South African, born and bred in SA. I don't want to say half Zulu, half Tonga, but you know, South Africans, we're no longer pure clans. We are interbred.
Okay.
So I'm a mixture of South African, maybe even SADC tribes. So that's how diverse we are. South Africa is a little bit complex. Like, you've got to really have an open mind. You need to get out of the frame that you're used to. We might look like we have moved beyond in terms of industrialization. We're a little bit ahead, but South Africa is divided into two. We've got the normal economy that's governed by the government, and we've got a traditionally led economy. So we've got kings and queens, tribes and clans, and then we've got kingdoms. And we have very good ties. So just because some of us live in cities, it doesn't mean we have let go of our ways. So often South Africans live in duality. They live the modern and they live the traditional. For example, I think Mlu was alluding to trying to give you insight on how we even perceive marriage. Marriage for us is not as romanticized. When you get married, you are actually merging two families together to become one. And there are traditional ceremonies that take place behind the scenes for a man and a woman to become one. Yes, we'll have the white wedding, go and sign, select a structure to protect our assets and actually grow in the modern economy, but we do still follow traditional ceremonies. So that's how complex South Africa is. And in all of that, our government and our traditional led systems, they work in parallel. I'll send you resources just to gain more insight on this. What else? So in terms of the current topic relating to gays, in African communities, we are very spiritual. As much as a lot of us are African, we still follow a lot of African Christians, but we still follow a lot of African traditions. If I were to have a son and the son is born gay, I would then find a way to communicate with the elders, those that have passed on, using the ones that are still alive to understand what is going on. Usually it's a message. There's usually some history or pattern that's being triggered, or some issue that has to be resolved. Sometimes it's not even a
Let me
bad thing.
ask you a
Sometimes it's
question.
a gift. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
said if you had a son and he was born gay.
Yeah.
So in
Born
an
gay
African,
and did not
you're,
chose to be gay, born gay.
okay, so you're saying that the African tribes acknowledge that you can be born gay.
Yes, we've got those. It's not an
Okay.
anomaly in an African, it's not.
No, I'm saying, say that again now. I'm sorry.
It's not,
Or excuse
being
me.
gay and lesbian is not an anomaly
I'm asking the
at
question.
all.
I'm
Choosing
right.
to be gay or to be lesbian is an anomaly because it's not inherent in you.
I understand that, but you have made mention that
So
you said
choose,
if
yeah,
you have a son,
it's we see it in a similar fashion as someone who's disabled. Giving birth to someone who's is disabled is not seen as an anomaly in our culture. We see it as a gift. We call it umntwana onesipho, the child with a gift. We don't
okay,
have the word disabled.
I understand. I'm asking this
Yeah,
question. So you're
yeah.
saying that your tribe, or which you may be affiliated with, recognizes that a child can be born gay.
Yes.
And what tribe is this?
All of them.
All of them.
All of them,
Okay.
100%. I can even give
Basil
you
and Zuki
access
Sani. Is that true in
to
your tribes?
experts in
No,
African traditions.
Okay.
I
well,
can
as
give you
Basil?
people with PhDs that can break it down for you.
Please
Well, I
repeat
don't
the
care about
question.
PhDs. PhDs don't mean nothing to me. I want to hear what
No, I'm
Basil
just
and them say.
saying the level of expertise, because we do study African culture. It's well documented that people that specialize in it.
Okay.
So it's not something
Yeah.
that you just suck out. You get what I'm saying? It's not something that's an anomaly to us. It's an anomaly. If I were to choose that I want to be gay, then it's a bit that I wouldn't say it's unacceptable because now we've got rights. But if I were born lesbian, my parents would have there's certain things that would have been done in the family to try to correct the situation so it does not repeat. But they don't cut me off from the family or try to change me. What they do is they follow certain rituals so that whatever pattern that's been triggered, it does not propagate to the upcoming generations. I'm not sure if I'm making sense, but if you are thinking within the frame of Christianity, it's not going to make sense at all.
I'm not a Christian.
You believe in Jesus, don't you?
I'll even put God out of the matter. I'll put God out of the matter of it. I'll stick with nature. Let's just take human beings out of it. Let's just look at nature. Nature's not gay.
So I don't want to get into what's wrong, what's right in terms of being gay. What I can tell you is that in our communities, we've got gays. We've had gays for generations. However, people don't choose to be gay. The ones that are in our situation, we don't choose. It's either you're born gay or not.
I completely disagree with that sentiment.
I beg to differ with this
Okay.
with Cindy here. Okay, so
Okay, go ahead, Basil. You go ahead. You go first because I'm gonna ask Basil. You go first.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let Zuki go second.
Okay,
Got some
so
questions.
I want to say I completely disagree with that sentiment because this is why I disagree. I know about gay people. I know them personally. I know friends and family of mine who have relations with gay people, as in they've seen them at church or they've seen them in certain places, right? Or they grow up together. But in most of those scenarios, I have a father. And if my father was to see this and I'm representing his household and his name, there's no way that I could utter the words, some people are born gay. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. And no one can... Okay.
Let me ask you, Zuki Sani, because you said that when you take the boys out into the bush, sometimes boys don't come back as men, and they saw that there was some things within them that they weren't either ready or they never could get to the place of sitting and eating with the men. Is there something there that they saw that, okay, he's a little...
It doesn't have anything, what I said over there doesn't have anything to do with homosexuality and people being gay. It could simply be that this dude is a rude person. He's rude. He doesn't know how to behave amongst men. He doesn't know how to carry himself as a man. That person does not sit with men in our community. For example, when it comes to even violence in my community, violence has got categories in my community that for me to fight someone who is a 19-year-old who is not circumcised, I can't even go and fight that guy simply because of the fact that if I have a younger brother who's uncircumcised, that is his friend. Go fight that guy for me. Not because I cannot fight him, but simply because my culture says I don't associate myself with that person because he's not on my level. I don't know if that makes any kind of sense to you. So for me, it's like, for me and my community, I'm not speaking for everyone because I'm just gonna speak for my family and my father's household. For us, there is no such thing as a person that you are born gay. And in most situations, even when I'm riding with my dad in the car growing up, it'll always be in something like when you see someone who's gay, there's a word called istaba, and he will say, Chwala ntwana ka ban, sister ban. And ban will always be a woman because there's no father in the home. For me, that's how I've experienced gay people growing up. They always come from either a broken home, or there's no father in the home, or it's a boy who's growing up with his grandmother. In most cases, it's situations like that. Even our most famous gay dude who does have a mother and he does have a father, but they're way older than he was. You understand what I'm saying? And even through his own words, his parents were never in the home. His father was always doing something else, working overseas, and that is our most famous gay person. So you can see that the lack of the father being present has got a huge play in the factor of a boy child turning gay as he grows up. For example, I like the fact that it's a woman she's a female saying what she is saying. And I challenge any other man to come on this platform to say the exact same things that she was saying. And you'll find that there's far less South African men that will say what she is saying, because it's always the women that accept these guys and they baby them to become what they are through my eyes. And they become gay or whatever.
Okay. Appreciate that. Let's pass on to Basil.
I'm not gonna dispute that. Remember, we are all I accept your opinion, but I'd like to let other people give their opinion or their beliefs or how they've been taught, and the traditions, and they need to also state whether the traditions that they are aligned to allow this, especially the ones that are taught in families on how to execute certain rituals when an anomaly happens, when there's a pattern that's abnormal, especially when you know what to do when you understand the African way of doing things. I'd like to hear from those ones. Yeah.
Basil, you go ahead. Thank you very much, sister. Please, you're more than welcome to stay on the platform. Got to have our sisters here. Basil, you were saying you disagree with Sister Cindy.
Yes, because now I'm talking from experience. I remember back in the 90s when I was still growing up, there were guys that we were like growing up with, coming up with. There was no sign of them being gay. But then now recently, when you see that, okay, this guy is gay now, it seems like somebody influenced him to be like that. You know what I'm saying? They were not born gay, those people, because you know when you're a group of guys, there's things that you have something in common with. And you can see, okay, you can tell this person is just the same as me, he's a straight certain somebody. But then recently now, you see a person being gay. It seems like it's coming from somewhere. He wasn't born gay, that person. So
you think
it's
the influence and the how today's society is that you now have rights to pick and choose what you want to be, in this. Cindy was talking about being born. If there are instances within the tribal community that there are those who are recognized as being born, and there are measures that are in place to rectify, change this type of behavior or way. Am I right, Cindy?
Yes, correct. I'd like, maybe we can also conduct a special topic on this and get people that are more specialized in it. To just break it down and educate.
I just want to ask, how is that going to change?
Can I
get a psychologist on the platform to talk about it, gay people, blah, blah, all of those things? How is the psychologist going to influence the ideas and ways of tradition that people grow up with? Because specialized people got nothing to do with tradition and what we are talking about. That's the thing about education. Education got a lot of people duped into believing so much nonsense that now we need a specialist. Why do we need a specialist when I grew up in a traditional family?
Brother Zook, I'll say this right here. If you look behind our sister Cindy, she's a book woman. So she stands on books and what others say. But I'm with you, Zook, in a sense is that, no, we're talking about a African tradition of how this thing is dealt with or handled, or the belief systems within African communities. Because these people, because I know, Cindy, I'm not trying to beat you up or anything. You had mentioned about PhDs. These degrees doesn't qualify you for anything. These people are going to other people's schools, being taught by those people who have belief systems. These are not, well, I'm just saying that, whether we doing research or doing studies or we're doing all this right here, doesn't make it true necessarily. I'm just trying to figure out what the tribes.
I'd like to just give you a bit more context,
Sure.
Black, and a lot of our brothers know this. In South Africa, we have African universities, and we live in an exciting time where we get to rewrite our own history, and we get to document our own ways of living. We have people that practice these traditions, not only that heal and study them and get qualifications out of them. So these are our own. It's not some guy that studied papers in Europe that were written by some white historian. We've got Africans that understand African ways of living, that have converted all of that content into highly recognized courses and are rewriting history for us. Those are the types of people I'm talking about.
Can you please then please let us know your resources of who these people are that you're talking that could be in this
I think this
conversation?
topic, because it's a sensitive topic, and if it's not handled correctly, it can really, really turn into something that I don't think this podcast is about. It's all about education and learning from each other. And it's so sad that a lot of people that have a problem with gay people are people that are homophobic, people that are heterosexual. It's never the gay community hating against heterosexual. It's always a straight hating against people, against gay. Isn't it weird? I'm always fascinated by this, that why would you be straight and you in your life you're not affected by these guys and yet you hate them so much? What have they done?
Okay, can I get
even the ones that choose to?
Let me hold on a second. Let me
really, they don't go around hating on
in.
straight men, but it's always the straight men most of the time that are hating against the gay guy. I'm just curious why that is.
I disagree with you, Cindy, because the gay community is fighting against the straight people. They're the ones pushing the envelope. They're the one pushing into the education systems. They're pushing in the households. They're the one. We are not attacking the gay community. The gay community is the gay community, but they're the ones who wants to be stamped on everywhere. The gay parades, they want to go ahead and get the municipalities for them to march in. They're the ones to go ahead and get their rights, whether it's in restaurants and changing all these things. We're the ones.
But are they imposing on our rights as straight men and women? Are they imposing on our rights?
Of course they are.
Is there something that they are changing about our systems that have been running and imposed on them for years and decades?
They have imposed on our way of life. They're changing the bathroom systems. I'll just speak on America. They've come in and changed the schools. They're changing the pronouns now. They don't want to be referred to as he or she or anybody else. It continues. The list goes on and on. Now they're talking about that they should let a child make a decision of which route they should go. They want to take the parents' power away and allowing a child to decide based upon being educated in the school system of whether or not
can't we work towards having an inclusive community that accepts everybody, does not change belief systems of others and ways of living of other people? Why can't we all live in harmony?
I'd like to.
Well, here's the thing. As soon as you say that, my sister, that goes back to this again. Why is it that the European can go around the globe and get everybody to change their government, to change their spirituality, to change their language, to change their culture, and subscribe to theirs? But when we want to hold on to ours, we're the one who don't accept. When we don't go ahead and comply, we're the one who's the problem. Why is
Got
it
it.
that we have to always bend over backwards for them and not for us to stand true? Let me pass the mic to Mlunda real quick, okay? Because I know he's
Yes.
been standing patiently. Brother, what do you have to add to this?
Thank you so much. I think this is an interesting discourse. I like the fact that there are two positions, and one is represented, and so is the other. I'll just echo the sentiment of a few of the points that I heard that I think are important. One, the sister said something about being born gay. Now, there is a way in which I don't want to say indigenous, it sounds a bit condescending, but there is a way in which natural cultures are looked down upon by European or Eurocentric educational systems, such that when someone like Uzugisani was saying, when you are born and you have a lived experience on a subject, and someone comes in from, say, an institution where they are peer reviewed, there is a tendency for the peer reviewed perspective to gain more leverage in a conversation. And I think that's dangerous. I think by doing so, we're going to alienate each other's positions. I feel like if perspective got Basil and Cindy's perspective, they speak to very important dynamics in the culture. I happen to be of the view and of the perspective that since there was a study done about a gay gene and no gay gene was found, it is an amalgam of the influences of a child from birth up until a certain age, where a child is then able to associate with which gender they find most appealing based upon a myriad of influences. I believe that to be the case because the study was done by people who are not, let's say, conservatives or, hyper religious. It was done by just proper scientists, and there was no gay gene found. Meaning that, as what Go Black had said earlier on, nature isn't gay. Now, Cindy said something important. There are anomalies and there are individuals, and we must give them space, right? And even historically, people were never hunted down en masse for their orientation, so long as they respected the culture. One of the brothers said something important, that we don't mind you being gay, but if you're going to take something that's a source of pride for us, like our regalia as Zulus or as Xhosas or as Songas or as Pedis, and you're going to parade that under the banner of, let's say, the rainbow culture, I'll call it that for now. You might incite some emotions from people who know the history and value that as a symbol for something else, and now you're using it maybe to promote the ABC culture. In doing so, you are undermining the natural culture of people by trying to say that they are somehow less than intelligent for holding onto their belief of the family. Like I said, it stems from the idea that usual traditional Africans view sexuality not as a means of pleasing oneself, but to create a family unit. And in doing so, we aren't really hypersexualized. So when someone is homosexual in their own corner, it's fine. But what's happening now is that the children from a young age, as Mr. Goldblack had said, that from a young age, children are told your parents are dumb or they are unenlightened for saying you should be straight. They are taught that anyone that says gayness is not the future is somehow not using their full capacity as a thinking individual, which is dangerous because the people that value heterosexuality as a means of growing the family unit and such the nation, because the nation is made up of the family unit. There is no way you have a strong nation with a scattered family. And to most cultural families and cultural communities, that's the sole purpose of a family. We aren't sexual for the sake of orgasms. But if we're going to move it into a sphere of what feels good and what tickles my dopamine impulses, we're going to lose the plot and we're going to argue about different dynamics. So I'll just put it there for now that when we talk about, as most of the men, and Uzuksan said something very important about which genders we are easier to influence. And you'll find that most of the men, because we love our women, we don't really speak vocally, but these things are very precious to us. The fact that a man must be masculine and must enjoy masculinity. But if there is a gay man, we don't go out and hunt him down. No. But as soon as that gay man is going to come to us and speak to us as though we are not really thinking, just because we don't want that in our communities, it's going to cause a crisis of communication. Let me just end there for now. Thank you.
That's nicely said there,
yeah.
Melinda. Go ahead, Sister Cindy. Go ahead.
I'd like to share a story. When I was young, growing up, I wasn't aware that there was gay and lesbian and homophobic, heterosexual. I remember having a friend who had both sexual orientations, and we would play with her. She would associate herself as a girl. I've since lost track of where she is in life, but I would like to believe that she was very sure of who she was, even though she had both orientations. Even then, that was normal. There was nothing abnormal about that child. We were all one. We used to play together, eat together, swim together. We'd have pajama parties together, and it was just normal. Why is it abnormal now to have such people in communities? Why is it abnormal? Because I doubt if she's the only one. There are variations of those types of people living and has been in our communities for a very long time. Why is it that now that they are able to speak up, we can't accept them, whereas they've been with us for a very long time?
Well, you're speaking of a very low percentage. My wife is a physician, and me and her have had these topics. And what do they call those who have the dual
dual
and female?
sexes, yeah. And I'm
and
definitely
these
sure that there are those that have got one sex, but they don't identify as female. If they have a female organ, and those that have a male that don't that were born like that. Why is it a problem now? Because for as long as I can remember, we've never had these gay issues in SA. I could have been protected from them, but I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't think they've been an issue until now.
Of course not. And
why
I wonder,
now?
Oh, I know why now. I love what President Kenyatta said to President Obama.
Mm-hmm.
It may be a gay problem or issue in America, but we don't need to concern or worry or look upon this subject matter because it's not a problem here in Kenya. You see, the problem with what you're saying, why is it a problem now? Is because the gay agenda is pushing its way through every culture that it can and creating the problem.
Okay.
Yes, you're right, Sister Susan. I'm quite sure, Cindy, that, these might be these rare instances where someone has, two sexual organs or what have you. But there again, it was never a problem until there was those who opened the door and try to push their way into your schools, into your homes, on the TVs, in the cartoons, in the books, and everywhere. Now they're imposing themselves on the majority of people, trying to get us to bend to their ways. And I don't see why people can't see that that is a problem. That's reverse discrimination. If anything, that you want to create a law to make it for your way to have a higher position than other people. Let me go ahead and let our other guests come in. Tumelo, welcome back, my brother. Hold on, let me put you take you off mute. Let me take you. Okay, you're off mute. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone in the panel.
Good evening.
I think this is a very important topic that
How
we're
old are you,
discussing.
Tumelo? How are you? Where are you
I'm
from?
28
And what
years
part of the
old.
tribe you from?
I'm 28 years old and I'm Ndebele Zulu mixed masala, like my sister Cindy there.
You from Zimbabwe, right?
No. South Africa.
Okay.
Yeah, the South African version of Ndebele.
Okay.
Yes. First and foremost, I would like us to remember a little bit. I'm taking us back to a time where psychologists actually came out with stats and numbers that most of people who identify themselves as homosexual, gays, lesbians, and whatever, actually they had an experience where they were sexually molested and assaulted by someone in their family, and later on they developed these gay feelings and whatever because they were if I think we all remember this, and we haven't touched on that part yet as to why most of gay people are actually gay, because of the fact that it has been proven that most of the people who are identify themselves as homosexual have had sexual assault or of some sort of molestation at a young age. I think that is where we need to focus on, because homosexuality, as I think it is more of a mental illness than anything else, because psychologically we are talking of people who have been sexually assaulted from a young age, and most probably they've been assaulted by a person who is in the same sex as they are. Men by older men, women most probably by men, and then they start changing this appearance to say that no, let me dress a little less attractively to repel this attractiveness from men and all of those things, because there's a trauma that these people are facing. That's where my understanding of this was captured at the earlier age. So I have a little bit of compassion where I am relating with these people, and that is where it's the buck stops. But where I have a problem is where these people there systematically now they are trying to impose this agenda that now we need to conform to whatever it is that they are putting on us, because these people that are imposing these things on us, they are I see them as actually sexual perpetrators of those victims that are now gays. These are people at the top. These are people who will come to you and say, if you want this job, you have to sleep with me and what, and then they pay you. These are people at high religious positions, where these people are people that we trust them and then we leave them with their children. Now they want to normalize this thing where they are dead and they are, this biblical condemnation of this act. They want to normalize it, and then it becomes now an open thing. This is an agenda that is higher than we can actually think, because if a person can be able to influence and a law and structures of schooling structures, this is not a small thing. These are high people who have the power and money, and they are they are very homosexual, and they want us to conform to this thing and accept it as normal, where it is actually mental illness. I'll end it there.
Thank you very much, brother. Let me pass that mic on to Sayabonga. What's happening, brother? Welcome back to the show. Go Black to Africa. What's good with you?
Hi, hello everyone. How's it, brother? Go back. I wasn't gonna talk, man. I was a bit upset with you, man. I just felt like you were really sort of like disrespecting us in a lot of ways. But now I saw you posting our traditional attire, the Zulu attire. So I felt like I needed to talk because I saw you posting it there. And also, I just have a point also that I needed to raise also with my sister, but I just want to raise my point of view, and then I'm just going to ask my sister just a question. So, you know what happens? I just want to give you a background of what's happening here in South Africa. So normally when there's a wedding, there's a traditional wedding, as my sister has said. So there would be a traditional wedding, and there's also going to be a white wedding. So a white wedding would be like the Western way of, when people are getting married.
What tribe are you affiliated with? What tribe?
I am Zulu. I'm not affiliated with anything. I'm Zulu.
Okay,
I'm just Zulu. So yeah, so when there's a wedding, there would be a traditional wedding and that white wedding, the Western way of getting married. So what normally happens, even if someone is not Zulu, they can wear a Zulu traditional attire. So we don't restrict people. So like the pictures that you were showing, I'm almost certain that that was not Zulu. And your feeling about it was right. We really don't support gays so much. So the pictures that are flying over the internet, I'm almost certain that that is not Zulu. So what happens, you find that a closer person can put on a Zulu attire when they are getting married, or whoever, any tribe in South Africa. And Zulu, you must understand that Zulu is a big tribe here. So a lot of people, they try to, I would say, then they would try to affiliate themselves with Zulus. So a lot of them, they will then maybe put on the Zulu, traditional Zulu, and then that's how it goes. So it's not always the case where you'll find maybe a Pedi wedding, it's going to be just Pedi traditional attire as well. So it happens that it can be another tribe. So that was my point that I wanted to raise, just to clear that confusion, because you've also mentioned that are these the real Zulus? I doubt that it was Zulus. And then just to go back to my sister's point, I was a bit concerned, my sister, because you said a lot of things about practicing our tradition and all that, but you failed to identify with a tribe in South Africa, of which was a bit of
I said I
concern
was
because
Zulu, and my mom is Zulu. My dad is Tonga.
yeah, but then you must state your tribe. Then you belong to a certain tribe. You cannot belong to many tribes. So which creates a confusion, because if you practice a tradition, you would know that a child will belong to a certain family, even if when the
Okay,
father
so
is
I'm assuming you grew up in KZN, ne? You can
yeah,
continue. I'll
I was
explain
born there,
my
yeah.
yeah.
So what I was,
Yes.
well, it's yeah, I was saying then you belong somewhere. You cannot just be, because even if your father is, I'm just making an example. Let's say traditional, if someone doesn't have a father, they would make a ceremony and then he will belong to a certain family. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. And then to ask you a question, do you how do you, what is your view about God? I'm just asking a general question.
I'm not
Do you believe
Christian.
in? Oh, okay. No, then it makes sense
I
to me.
follow African spirituality. Yeah.
What
Yeah,
is
because
African
he didn't
spirituality?
ask was you Christian. He said, what is your belief in God? Yeah.
Angithi we believe in amathongo, amadlozi, and nabantu abadala. So
So is that
that's me.
African spiritual? Is that African spirituality?
What is?
Okay, no, but
Maybe you can educate
no,
me.
no. I wanted to know what is
Educate
African
us.
spirituality because I don't know it. No, I don't know it. I wanted to know what is African spirituality.
That's exactly. I've just
So
told you.
yes,
I've just
yes.
told
That's
you.
why.
Yeah,
Yes. No,
that
I'm answered
hierarchy
this because
all the way to God. Yeah.
okay, no, I'm answered. I don't think I don't have any follow-up question because my follow-up question was
So
gonna
just to
come up
answer
if you
you,
had said you believe in God.
yes, I believe in God. I'm not Christian. Just because someone is not Christian, it doesn't mean they don't believe in God.
Right. He just asked you, did you believe in God? You the one that said, I'm not Christian. So he
I
asked
said
you, did
I
you?
believe in
Yes,
God,
I never
but I'm
mentioned
not Christian.
Christianity. Yes, you came up with that. You're the one who
The
came up with
problem is a
that.
lot of South Africans think being Christian is
Can
being
we not
associated to
generalize, please?
God, whereas being when you follow African spirituality, you,
But Cindy, you need to answer my question.
I don't
That's not what I
know,
asked, though.
you see your ancestors
Okay,
as gods because we have been
I'm gonna hang up.
miseducated.
I'm gonna hang up. It's okay. I'm answered
Yeah.
though. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right.
I answered you. I said I do believe in God.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So just to give him more clarity for his own comfort, in old South African traditions, I can't speak about those that are outside of South Africa because I'm not familiar with the traditions and cultures. Every child belongs to two categories, the mother side and the father side. Even if your mom has married using the traditional ceremonies, you still belong to both. Yes, you can use your father's surname and they can guide your life and take ownership of who you are, but you still belong to both. The fact that we are not aware that we can call upon both of them, that is a red flag. We need a lot of education around that.
Can I just say something? So I would assume that she's speaking for the Tonga people, because for
I'm speaking
my
for
people,
everybody.
No, you can't.
okay, you're not speaking for me and my people at all, because
He's speaking for everybody.
my
You can't speak
people,
for everyone.
my people,
Everybody.
when they sleep with whatever race in this world, that child, especially if it's a male, that child is Xhosa. That child belongs to the Xhosa people. That child belongs to the Xhosa family. The mother is not important when it comes to the child. To my to my people.
Yes, yes.
I don't know about your people.
Let's
My
not
It's the same
fight.
thing. It's the
I
same
didn't
thing.
dispute
My
your belief
people.
system.
I
Let's
don't
not
mean
fight.
to offend you. I don't mean to make you feel touchy. I'm just telling you, my people, as a woman, you are important. Yes, you are. But when a child introduces themselves, I will say, I am such and such from such and such. And I'm only naming my father's lineage. For your special treatment, you will ask me, and where is your mother from? And then I will tell you, oh, my mother is such and such. Just maybe then you can relate to me. But the reality is, is Tuta, is Xhosa. When I say who I am, I will mention only my father's lineage. It will be only a special thing for someone to ask me, so where's your mother from? And then I will explain where my mother is from. But my bloodline belongs to my father. That's it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Hazel, what you got to say,
I
Hazel?
hear you, and I agree, and I agree with you. I agree with you 100%, because I'm Sindisiwe Chuma. I'm Tonga. When I introduce myself, I call upon my clan names is Tagazelo. But when Mangpatha, I call both my ancestors. When I ask, I call both of them, I introduce myself, and I tell them where I come from, so the relevant ones come up, right? That's how we do it in my family. That's how it was taught to me. So I can't say you are wrong, because that's how your clan does it. That's how your family does it.
So very importantly to what you're saying, you say when you are praying, right?
No, Pasha and praying are two different things.
So explain that to people who don't know, because what you're saying is true.
Can somebody else explain Pasha?
Yeah, no, it's like communicating with the ancestors, connecting in a way, engaging.
Can someone else explain
connecting? That is prayer. That is your spirituality of the African. You don't just talk to the ancestors.
You don't pray to ancestors. No.
Hey, I got confused. I'm confused. Okay.
Well, yeah, can I come in there
Basil,
for a second?
let Basil go ahead. Basil, what would you say, Basil?
Because I'm saying me and is it Cindy, we say the same culture. I'm Tonga, she's Tonga as well.
Please explain.
But I
explain
agree
what
with
is praying, what is Gupasla, and how do you Pasla?
Okay, I'll get to that in a moment. I just wanted to actually comment on what Zukisani was saying. I'm saying, Zukisani, it's all the same actually, my brother. So it's the same thing. So we explain our lineage and all that. So it's the same thing. You are Xhosa, I'm Tonga, she's Tonga. I don't know how they do it in their family, but it's the same culture. It's the same thing. We do it the same way. So yeah, my lineage is more focused on my father's side, not on my mother's side. So that's how lineage goes. So I'm gonna introduce,
especially if there was
a of so and so, so and so, the son of so and so, going backwards. Yes.
Yeah.
So Pasha is to communicate. It's not necessarily to pray. It's to communicate with your ancestors.
Pray. You don't pray.
It's not a prayer. It's a communication in a way. So you get your incense, you get your traditional beer, and then you spill it on the ground. You say whatever you want to say. That's communication. That's not a prayer. Yes.
Great information. Great information. So, okay, Maluda.
Yes.
On you, brother. So, what do you got to add to that?
Okay. To what Usindi is saying, I'd first like to say I'd like to say honor her, because she's holding the unpopular position here. I'm sorry to say. But I do not want her to feel attacked, because that's the purpose of a discourse. You're going to have people that think differently. You're going to have people that see your position as not correct. So I also would like to applaud her as our sister for actually representing this other side of, of the thought process, or the school of thought, if you can call it that. But I will err on the side of, especially on the topic of lineage. I think universally, I know it's going to sound, because patriarchy has been demonized somehow. Masculinity at some point has been attacked. So now it seems like it's a bad thing to honor your father in this way. It's not. When you identify with your father, it used to be an honor. It does not mean your mother is unimportant. It doesn't mean that your mother was just, the egg that you popped out of. There are very important aspects of motherhood in our cultures. And I'm just speaking for the Zulus, and I'm sure for all other cultures, especially it's the thing I am wary of, especially with Western education, is it does tend to attack masculinity and pit it against femininity. And I'm always careful when I listen to people speak about gender and gender dynamics in this way. I always get worried, because at some point I feel like it's a way to make the lion fight the lioness, and then we'll both sit after 30 years, wonder why there are no more cubs, because we've spent all this time trying to prove who's right, that we forgot that our enemy is the hyena. It's not either of us. So I think maybe let's appreciate that historically, when you're of your father, whether your father is from another tribe, because there's a saying in my culture that says "Induku enhle igawula emazweni," so it means a beautiful stick, or a beautiful person rather, will get a wife from far away. It means that you can be a South African, you can marry a Tanzanian or a Nigerian, and it's an honor for you to then trace your roots back to Adam through your father, because we are an unending line from the first human up until now. So we represent all of our ancestors. So I'd like for us to not throw that away, for this Eurocentric 50-50 culture. I don't think our culture was designed to fit that mold. That's why when we try and assimilate, we always lose as a culture. We always get men that aren't willing to die for their families. We always get these men that, that are emasculated, that feel the need to justify their manhood against people who are calling patriarchy as sin. So that's the only dynamic I was going to speak to on both aisles, Wuti. There is a reason why the patriarchy is given the status it is, and that's because the man dies for three things. He dies for his land, dies for his family, and he dies for his God. And if we are going to take that position away from them and make everything equal, or not equal, maybe equal is not the right word, but and we're going to muddy those waters, we're going to lose in our future. But I'm not going to go through far before I lose where I'm going. But that's all I wanted to say. When it comes to lineage and things like that, it was supposed to be a tool to keep the men being men, and honor the women and honor the men as well, because this is a part of our culture. Thank you.
And I'd like to add on to that. That culture will die if we let it. Right now, we don't have an excuse as to why we shouldn't revive and enhance our ways of doing things, so that we are able to progress and not lose what we've always had and what our ancestors tried to preserve while fighting for us to be here. We've got enough information, we've got access to resources, we've got capabilities to preserve it ourselves. We really can't blame anyone else but ourselves right now. If you don't know your family tree, you don't know your traditions, you don't go back home to learn about the entire family and how things got to where they are right now, really, we cannot be blaming the colonialists, because right now there's nothing preventing us. All those laws that were invented to make it impossible for us to continue being ourselves are no longer there. So who else are we there to blame? Who are we blaming?
There's still this. Sis. I'd like to just add quickly. I'm sorry to intervene,
Yeah.
but this constitution is protected by the might of the West. So if we as Black Africans were to try and go to the Constitutional Court right now, tomorrow, with a petition of 40 million citizens saying, we want the land, the very next day we would have US bombs, we'd have UN bombs on our shores. And we are fully aware of that. So they took it with force. And unfortunately, there's no way we can talk our way into it. When we as a country are ready to get back our land, we're going to have to put guns on the ground, feet on. We're not going to have a debate with Van Donder and Van Donder to give us back our land. That's the unfortunate truth. And we have to get to the place of acknowledging that those constitutions, that there's a thing called soft power and hard power. They're exercising soft power so that now if you were to go to a primary school and teach them that Black is beautiful, Black is ancient, Black is this and that, they wouldn't teach that. I mean, they'd agree
But
with
why
you.
are we waiting for our children to learn about us, about your traditions at a private school? Why can't you teach it at home? Because I learned this stuff at home. It wasn't taught to me in any of the schools that I'd been to. The last time I was immersed in that type of environment was in KZN, because that's where I did my foundational schooling. You know, in KZN, things are done differently. You learn Zulu, you live isiZulu. Eskoleni, you follow, you sing, you learn about history, the Zulu history, and you have to know Itagazelo. You know, it's a Zulu way of living. That was the way of living then. But as soon as I continued my school in Joburg, none of that was taught. And all of these things that I now practice were taught in my family. My parents didn't wait for other people to teach me. Why are we making it somebody else's responsibility? Why are we not continuing?
Can I just in conclusion for me, I really don't want to sound like I'm disagreeing with everything that she's saying, but even like saying something to the nature of right now in South Africa, we have all the same opportunities, blah, blah, blah. That's nonsense. That's absolute nonsense. Right now, there is a lady somewhere in the location there. She's been frying amaguinya. She's been selling street food for the longest time. She is making plus minus. Let's say she's got the most popular stall. She's been making plus minus about 23,000 South African rands each and every single month. She's banking regularly, but she can't go and afford a house in a white neighborhood, or even in my neighborhood where I was staying in Port Elizabeth, in Utney, which is a semi-suburb. Houses there are equivalent to about 900 to 1.1 million South African rands. They won't give that woman a bank loan, even if she banks with them regularly. So I don't understand when people use sentiments like yourself, because it's really not true. Just 2 years ago, they found out FNB was lending out money to Black South Africans at a higher rate. So I don't understand, like, where does that come from? Where do you pick it up in order for me?
I was talking about lineage. I'm not even talking about that at the moment. Maybe I must have, I don't know.
Just the statement that you made to say that right now, as a South African, you can do whatever you want. It's not entirely true. That's all I'm saying. So we have to be careful with the types of words that we choose to put out there, because the reality of the matter is certain people in our society are absolutely discriminated upon. Right now, if I couldn't speak English properly, you think I'm an idiot. That's the reality of South Africa. Right now, if I was a darker-skinned person,
I think that was taken out of context. I think that was taken out of context.
You have to be careful with certain types of things. I used to work in sales, and they'll hire people who are more light-skinned than me in the jewelry stores in order for them to go and sell jewelry to people who have money.
No, I was talking about lineage. I said nothing is preventing me from going back home to ask the elders about my history, to build my family tree so that I understand the entire family structure. That doesn't cost money. It doesn't need the banks. It just needs
That's
me
not.
to knock on
I'm
somebody's
just saying
door who I talk to
on the
almost every
statement that
day.
you made, on the very small statement that you made, even that, like choose your words wisely. You could have said that, and we all would have understood you. So don't just say something to
No,
the
but
note
that's what
that
I said. I've never spoken about the banks. This is not about the current economy and current affairs, is it? Because that's another discussion we haven't even started.
Yeah, we're
you
not
see.
going down that road. We're gonna keep the subject matter at hand. But I understand both. She's clarifying herself for you, Z. You received it as one way, and she's saying that this is what her meaning was. And so you know,
Right.
you lay it out there. Words definitely are dangerous because I have a total different understanding of words. I was talking to a sister today who's a real estate agent, and she said, I asked her, I said, did you have to go to real estate school? And she said, no, but I had to write my test. I said, you had to write your test? She said, yes. I said, what do you mean you had to write your test? She said,
Mm.
I said, well, you didn't have to take a test? She said, yes. She says, what's the difference? I had to take my test or write my test. I don't see the difference. That right there is just a good example of even words. I have to ask people all the time, what is your definition of God? What is your definition of Christianity? What is your definition of this? Because we all have different meanings of a word that you would think is common, but it's not necessarily true. And we
Right.
debate
Right.
on that.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes. So family, I'm coming to a close here. I'm gonna say my final words, but I thank each and every one of you all for coming in, you know, speaking on your side of your point of view, your tribal traditions, and I give much respect to each and every one of you all. We carried on a successful conversation without too much of a destruction of a debate, which means there is progress that I see because my channel is not about arguing, fighting. It's about really having a discussion with solutions as well. And so I appreciate y'all for educating me as well as educating those who will watch this video and those who are in the chat. So with that, family, I'm going to go ahead and wish y'all farewell, and I'm going to go ahead and put my 2 cents on this whole thing. Thank you very much, brothers and sisters.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you very much also. Cheers.
Yep. So family, let me just put it down right here. We got some great information from the brothers and sisters that, you know, we're talking about their tribes and is this gay thing? We really didn't get on the matter of really what is a woman. You know, that would have been interesting because I mean, we even find that in America, God, dog, people won't even answer the freaking question. What is a woman? They're too afraid now to even ask what is a woman. Matter of fact, Cindy, I want to bring Cindy back, and if she hasn't been, because I want to ask her the question since she is a woman. I think she removed herself. Call back in, Cindy, because I would like to see what her answer is to the question. Being that she's a woman, will she give from a woman's perspective what a woman is? It looks like she is timed out. I think she might have dismissed, but yeah. But let me get into it though. She can call back. This gay thing, you know, I've heard people talk about the you know, South Africa's, you know, constitution and the changes, and they think, you know, everything's moving on forward, respecting one another. And my thing is, yeah, I understand that. I understand these constitutions and who was really in charge of the Constitution and writing that Constitution. And it wasn't a negotiation. We like to use words like negotiation. Was it really a negotiation when you got a gun pointed to your head? Or there's stipulations that are given to you, or you only have certain choices in a matter? Is that really a fair negotiation when you know that your people will die if you try to hold on to the very things that you want your people to enjoy, to embrace, or what have you? But then these systems come in place, and what do these systems do? They push their agendas, and you think that you are, you know, giving them the opportunity to express, or even yourselves, the rights for all, when you don't even realize that the rights are really going to others. You know, in America, we say, how is it that the gay got in front of the line of the blacks? that we've been fighting for rights all these years, and they got all the rights. You see, the game is played by a governmental system that will always having us think that we are part of it. We was never, ever put in mind. Now, like I explained to my brother before, if you think political power is over economical power, you got yourself fooled. Money is what controls everything, and your people can be bought or threatened. And we know this, and their family members. This happens every day. Don't we see when our so-called leaders in Africa are, when they stand up for what is right, their countries will be sanctioned. They will be embargoed on their exports. They will be, some coups will be sought out and murder or will happen to many leaders. This is the evils of this world system. Facts all day long. But let me go ahead and put it this right here, because see, some people want to stand on books. Some people want to stand on profession, but nobody wants to stand on what these writings, I call them ancient writings, they're scriptures of days of old, which came out of Africa. They didn't start over in Europe, and no, it's not the white man's Bible that y'all call it. If you do your research and see where did these scrolls were found, or where are these talking about, and who is these people? Because I want to show y'all some things here before I get off to show y'all. It's mighty funny that people will put all of their energy into man's books. We know that statistical data are slanted based upon a person's experience, their biases, their prejudice, their sex, their color, their culture, their religion. It will be a bias in studies that are out here. So I don't like to hear from people who's got a lot of daggone degrees on their wall, because I know that they went to schools taught by somebody who was taught by somebody who typically wasn't even us. So then everything must match what they say should be. And we know they slant the truth at times, proven all day long. There's a lot of things they come back and say, oh, we made a mistake in that. Oh, that wasn't correct. And that happens every day. But like I said before, when it comes to this LGBT, I'm going to sit here and say that nature is not gay. But see, man can make decisions on what choices they want to be. See, man can make a choice to abort the baby. Man can make a choice of what gender they want to be. Man can even pick and choose who they want to sleep with. For we know bestialities out there. Please do your history check. There are some countries you can marry your own freaking dog. Is that right? And if you say it is right or wrong, you are establishing a commandment or a law. So I rather for nature or the Almighty who created such to be the school teacher of us, because man screwed it all up. But in saying that, even the scriptures will stand on what's right. Come on now. Everybody can admit the fact that let somebody kill your own. You're going to say it's wrong. We know that. Is it right for a man to sleep with his daughter, a mother sleep with her son? Is it right for a woman to go ahead and enter another woman's house and take her man, or a man to enter a man's house and take his woman? Is it right to steal and take what is not rightfully yours? You see, you can find all of this in the scriptures. But those people who oppose it is because of the fact that they are in that wickedness and they don't want to agree with it. But this gay thing has been around since the beginning of time. So it is a spirit. And even with my sister Cindy, that she says that people will be born, even the scriptures say, let me go ahead and share my screen. The scriptures say we are all born into a world of sin. So even if you want to submit the fact that a child is born gay, you got children who were born who will kill animals and love to kill animals. You got children out here who will sit here and hit and abuse another child. You got children out here who will misbehave and be disobedient, will not follow rules and all that right there. But it is for you, the adult, to guide and teach that child what is right. Because the way the Europeans and we subscribe to is just, you should let your child have the right to pick and choose who they want to be. If they are wanting to be boy, let them be boy. If he wants to be a girl, let him be girl. You see, we used to grow up in America. When I was coming up, I was born in 66. And the one thing in the Black community, we would always laugh at the white people and how disrespected their children was to the parents. They would throw their tantrums. They would curse their parents out. They would throw things at them. They would hit them. And I remember my parents would be like, I wish y'all would even think about doing such a thing. You got to raise a child in the way it should go, so as the scriptures say. You see, but nobody wants to raise them today in what is the rightful way and right things of God. Nobody wants to be holy today. Everybody or most people want to do their own thing. We do have people out here who are trying to live upright standing before the Most High. But you also have this system in place that wants to go ahead and change what is right into wrong. See, y'all here in South Africa, and even y'all in the continent of Africa, got an advantage that we don't have there in the Western world. You see, we didn't have a culture. And when we did, it was mixed up so much and it was switched and moved. Let me explain that to you all because y'all don't know the history of America. You see, we were Africans, right? And we still are Africans. But the sad part about it is people subscribe to American dream. You got brothers and sisters over there talking about, I ain't no African. I'm American. You see what a system can do to an individual? You got, when slavery happened, you had people from all walks of life, let's just say tribes, because they took it all the way down from the west coast of Africa. So you had people from various tribes. And in this mingle of people being brought in, sold by the master, who is, he bought a woman from Sierra Leone and bought a brother from Nigeria or Mali and brought another one from Ghana and another one. And as they were on plantations, they decided to build a family, only for a short period of time, because a young slave baby was very expensive and they can sell that baby. Matter of fact, they would even sell the father. If he was a strong slave, he can get a lot of money from him. So they would sell off fathers, sell off mothers, sell off children, and the family become broke. And you had these mixed languages, these mixed to where it all died out. Nobody can speak African languages in America, but y'all can. But see, the Western world system has come in here, of course, and colonized Africa. But thankfully, y'all held on to y'all roots and y'all are letting it slip by more and more every day. I see so much of the West pressing in because of the fact that so many of y'all want to be just like Americans. You rather lay down your own cultures and subscribe to these religious belief systems, these cultural belief systems, the idiotic mindsets and mentalities. You believe that the PhDs and all of these degrees get you somewhere. You would even look down on your own brothers and sisters. Before the Europeans came in America, yes, there were spiritualities and there were those who believed in the Most High. And also, there was a spirit of belief that, hey, this Most High was actually, as the panel was saying, was communicating with one another. But we lost all that. We lost it because we thought it was more important to try to be like somebody else than be like ourselves. So put on that suit. You took off your Zulu tribes and you took off your I'm sorry, you gotta excuse me, and your Tonga and all these other tribes and lay them by the wayside, and you put on your suits, you drive your BMWs, and you become more like them. To where the day comes when you used to be against gay, you used to be against the corruption, you used to be against not being family oriented, to the day now you are against it. I see it. I've been to 15 African countries and I'm watching this whole thing unfold. See, the advantage that you got is that you can look at America and talk to the African American to see the status of what's going on there so that you can at least bring the education to your people to say, this is what's happening over in America. And this is the same democracy government that we have, that it's going to root its head even more here in this country. We have to preserve. We have to go back to the Most High. See, look at America. It's crime infested. It's drug infested. Homelessness is at all-time high. The black culture is dying. The black on black crime, the black man against the black woman, the father killing the mother killing the father killing the family, the children are killing the family. That was all written in the scriptures. And nobody wants to go ahead and follow or come to an understanding that these things that are unfolding is only because of you're allowing a spirit that once come and brought in your house for you to take that, because money has become your God. I see it every day. But yep, let's just put that aside and let's become more like them. If y'all will even watch my videos and listen to the interviews I have, you would hear the hearts of the people and what they feel. Everybody has this so-called attachment to the system to try to help them. They believe in the laws that they brought in this country is supposed to be supporting the people when it's actually supporting them. But let's get into a little bit of this, because this is for people who want to understand something about this homosexuality, the LGBT agenda, or what have you. What did God say about it, or the Most High, or Yahweh, or Yahweh, Yeshua? The real names, if you want to really go back to most of the older texts. But what was said, because things need to go back into balance. And it was put simple. So check this out. Let me share my screen, because I don't want to come off my brain and say this right here. I want y'all to see for yourself, because many of us don't believe that. But here it is again, when you read in the fact that, tell me that back then there had to be something in place for what God says. God, I am the Lord. Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is an abomination. Neither shall you lie with any beast to defy thyself thereof. Neither shall any woman stand before the beast to lie down with it. It is confusion. Defile not yourselves in any of these things, for in all these nations are defiled, which I cast out before you. And the land is defiled. Therefore, I do visit the iniquities thereof upon it, and the land itself vomit out her inhabitants. Now, let me say this right here. See, I know that South Africans are talking about wanting to keep their land, wanting their land back. You see, when those came in the land, they cursed the land. Let me say that again. When those who come in and ain't standing for the Almighty, and they come in and tell you God and Jesus, which I'm trying to tell you, if you knew anything, that's the trickery of the hand. That's the slick hand. You play cards and you got to watch the left hand because the right hand you're really focused on, and they come here and they sell you something, the switcheroo, and then all of a sudden now you following something they were following, and you wonder why you're plummeting downhill. You lost everything, and yet you want to look up to them. It's because of this very thing. Now you tell me, is anything wrong with laying with a beast, an animal? Now, if you come out of your mouth and say no, how can you subscribe to a man laying with a man and a woman laying with a woman? This was in those old scripture writings. Why? This right here is a great doctrine of correction for the mindsets of men, the reproof of those who have gone astray off of listening to this crazy system ran by those coming from the West. And now all of a sudden, I'm seeing everywhere I go in Africa, slowly creeping in this gay movement with Black Africans. Let's see what else it says. Hold one second. Let me go back to my screen here. Let me share my screen, because see, this was talked about in the days of old. Let's look right here. Let's see. He's talking about this and Bible or whatever it is. Let's look what this is right here. The day shall come now. Hold up. Let me go right here. See, let me go further up. Let me go a little further up on this chapter here, because here, listen to this right here. Because I could go through all the way up to the top, but let me say this right here. For therein is the righteousness of God revealed from faith to faith, as it is written, the just shall live by faith. Family, all we got is faith, because this system is trying to get us to have different views and opinions and outlooks. It's trying to push itself on us to the point of us losing what is most important, the faith in the Most High. It says, for the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth in unrighteousness. Ain't that true how it is today? There are people who try to hold truth in unrighteousness. It's okay to kill your babies. It's okay for you to sleep with another man. It's okay for you to go ahead and sleep with an animal. It's okay for you to go ahead and do this and do that according to what man law says. And it's our Constitution, and it says that we're supposed to be. God's law is greater than man's law. And if it's contrary, we're supposed to stand on it as a people. So it says, because of that which may be known of God is manifest in them, for God has showed it unto them. You see, when you are walking with the Most High, it's going to be shown to you, because who is in you? The Most High. Believe me, I used to walk out there idiotic and crazy in this darkness of this world, doing all kind of crazy things underneath the sun. I used to be that person, but the day came when the light was shown unto me that, you must walk upright. You must be, see, everybody can talk about our government is corrupt, but how corrupt are you? They steal. Do you steal sometimes? Do you get that 5-finger discount, as we call it? Somebody comes and stole some out of the store and give you a discount on it. You ain't got to pay the full price. Is your hand in that mix? It says here, for the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. What does that mean? Those people who sit around here talking about they don't believe in no God and all that right there. Look, the invisible things of him from the creation of the world. That's why I said nature ain't gay. You look at nature, nature can teach you things, and that can be clearly seen, because the idiotic, evil, wicked minds of the man will try to change up anything. Being understood by the things that are made, that's the things God made. If we sit back and look, if you want to believe that gay is gay, what if the animals decide to be gay? Guarantee you ain't gonna have your beef no more, because there's no reproduction no more. I guarantee you ain't gonna have your vegetables no more, because they decide, you do believe there is male plants and female plants, right? You won't have food to eat if they decided to all turn gay. We wouldn't even breathe. Why? Because there are male trees and female trees, and that means then there would be no reproductions at all, right? So we're looking at the creation of what God gave us, as it says, that are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, that nobody has an excuse. Because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were they thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolishness hearts was darkened. I will sit here to the day I turn blue and say this right here. Black African people did not come up with pornography on films. No, filming that garbage. It was the Europeans. You can't find one African who was filming that. Now today you can, because they follow suit. Oh, it's all about the money. You can't find them having these sex toys and these pervertedness that people are taking in their bedrooms and using on one another. You couldn't find it in no African daggone families, but now you find it. You can't find none of this idiotic conversations of having orgies within a household of groups and bringing in animals and all that, but you can see who all this culture is. If you knew the European culture, and I'm not trying to slam on white people, if white people even do their history, see, most white people in America don't even know where they came from. Their families changed their names because they were not trying to be discriminated against those who were in power. So everybody was Ireland and Switzerland and Britain and Spain and Italy. Everybody changed their name to English names so they wouldn't be persecuted from the countries that they were. And so then what happened? So you got to know the history. Go back into the cultures. You're going to look over into the European cultures. You're going to see bestiality was a way of life. You're going to find that even a man's highest point, nirvana, was to be with a boy. This is in their history. It's in their poems. It's in their literature. It is in their sculptures. If you do your reading, and that culture went around the globe. And the sad part about it, that those who think they were, or gay was on them, one of the most trickery institutions that were around that was raping our own boys underneath our noses was that Catholic Church. And you see the cathedrals and these people coming under the names of Christianity. They're coming under the name of God. They're coming under the name of missionaries and raping and robbing, pillaging the whole continent of people. And that spirit lingers now in today's society. But there's hope. We got to just change the faith and get out of that system. But let me get to my point where I was going to say, because it says right here, point blank, that where I'm going. Here we go. Let me finish off right here. So professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. You know, we got many people out here sitting on degrees and all that right there, claiming to be wise, smart and all that right there, but they ain't nothing but fools. And changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image made like the corruptible man. That white Jesus you see on poster board. Even a black Jesus on a poster board, on a chain, or what have you. These are the corrupt minds of those who try to go around the world and try to control it by saying that God is the image of this color and everybody submitted to it. And the birds and the four-footed beasts and the creeping things. They changed all of these things. Wherefore God also gave them up to uncleanliness through the lust of their own hearts. You know, one of the worst places to be is when you are released and now you don't even realize that you're from under the protection of the Most High because of your idiotic thinking that you want to be open-minded, that most people want to sit here and say, you got to be open-minded. I'm going to tell you that's a dangerous place to be when you want to go in and allow others to come in and put that garbage of their belief in your head. That is stupidity. The Most High, the spirit that bees, the powerful source that is, can remove that spiritual protection off of you and allow you to go ahead and walk that mess out. It says this right here, wherefore God also gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of God into a lie and worshiped and served the creature more than the creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. Now check this out. For this cause, God gave them up unto the vile affections, for even their women did change the nature use into that which is against nature. That means being with another woman, you woman. And likewise also the men, verse 27, leaving the natural use of the woman, burning in their lust one towards another. Men with men, working that which is unseemly and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was met. Isn't that sound familiar? This is thousands of years old writings. Isn't that true? Can we not agree to that? And even as 28, and even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to the reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient. All those who don't believe in God, you ain't got to. You've been given up to the stupidity of this world that you want to believe in, and you put your trust in your books and your studies in a system. Go right ahead. And even as this day did not like to retain God in their knowledge. 29, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of God, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things. I just talked about that mess that they invent. Disobedient to parents. Oh, Lord, the spirit is reigning even in the children. Without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of God, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasures in them that do them. You see, let me come on back over here. You see, there's writings that's been around here for our own good. Or you can leave the writing up to those right there who are in charge, who wants to go ahead and control you and guide you and lead you into what they want this world to be. Matter of fact, it's so interesting. You would think people have enough sense to say, for those who went around with wickedness to colonize this world, and those who subscribe to it and not fighting up for what is right, those Europeans, they know what the ancestors did, and they still sitting on top and all that right there and going along with the program. Your judgment shall come. And you brothers and sisters out there who's followed suit and lost and stepped away from the most creator of standing in for what's righteousness, holding yourself upright, your day comes too. This ain't no scare tactic. We do know every man die. Now, some say, well, you don't know what's going to happen thereafter. You sure right. But like one brother told me one time before, yo, go black. So what if you wrong in the end and if there's no God? I said, I don't lose. There's just no God. But let me ask you the question. What if there is? You see, we can play the game of ignorance and follow other people and what they talk about. Don't worry about that. Ain't no God. There ain't no, there's no this and that, all that right there. Okay, but you can subscribe to when somebody do you wrong, that you decide now it's wrong for somebody to do something when you hurt. And now all of a sudden it's right in your eyesight. But as soon as you show somebody, well, this right here is a pattern. This right here is a commandment. This is an example of what we can build, so-called, we can build laws off of. We can build corrections for our children and our communities off of, because it's good. It's right. Every time I turn it around, they changing laws. Now, oh, look at America. Let's talk about America so y'all don't know, because y'all already know right here in South Africa, they got legalized marijuana, or they decriminalized it, but they got marijuana weed stores right here in Johannesburg. But what y'all don't even see is that they're going to do the same thing that America do, because y'all nothing but a sister of America. Why? The Europeans run it. So they Europeans, you can let them call themselves Afrikaans and Brits and all this other stuff. They're still the same people. Them same laws and them same spirits and mentalities are all the same. It don't matter. Now, I ain't talking about every white person or those of European descent. There are those who become awakened, and there are those who see that what is being done is wrong and what is evil. Yes, there are those who have come out of that mentality, that consciousness of evilness, and now are coming into the place of light. But many won't give it up because they know they'll lose. They rather hold on to what their ancestors have conquered and be zip-lip and allow the spirit of evil come in to overtake and run you. But what's going on in America? Because just like the marijuana stores that y'all just legalized or decriminalized not too long ago, guess what they're doing in America? Oh, they're coming up, what now was people who is, well, not now, this has been around for years right here. I'll just start on this one and work on the other one. So you see, when evilness in the world right here don't have righteousness, they just play it off by ear and come up with different things to do. You see, with those who are on drugs and all right there, especially cocaine or heroin and stuff like that, they say, hey, what are we going to do with these people here? Because they're dying, they're overdosing. We got an idea. We'll just go ahead and have clinics they can go to and we can watch over them and just feed them the drugs. It's called morphine. See, morphine is just like the same drug that they're taking. It's just a low little dosage. So now you became the evil one, the father of the drug seller, and giving the people that, as you call, want to look after them because of the fact you're so concerned of them trying to get off of their addiction, and you're calling yourself to little wean themselves off when they're never going to wean themselves off. But then you rather go ahead and be part of that. That's what is happening. But what else is happening today? Now they're starting to have clinics that you can go in now and just take your cocaine, take your heroin, clinics that now are coming up, and they'll supply it to you for free. This is the evilness of the system. And everybody out here who wants to be part of the system, you go right ahead, because the very things you say that you would have never done 10 years from now, you look back and you'll be the one talking about, there's nothing wrong with that. Hey, what's a woman? Well, it's whoever wants to identify as such. Who's to say what a woman is? If a man wants to be called a woman, why would you want to keep him from being called a woman? If he wants to be called a woman, it's a she, why not? You see, this is the idiotic we see black people that's doing over in America. And we didn't even used to think that crazy way. But see, because we have walked away from the Most High, this is what you get. I just read, God gives you over to a reprobated mind. So your mindset will become just like that of the system. And it's sad to see that many people in this African continent that I wholeheartedly want to go ahead and try to at least bring some of the awareness of the things that are going on, I get even ridiculed and get backlash. But that's okay, because when people are blind, what do you expect? People will fight against your truth of what the Most High is saying. Didn't that happen to Yeshua? Exactly. He said a man is not even welcome in his own home, trying to even spread the truth to his own people. What did they do? They killed him. And guess what? People are going to try to kill people who's trying to spread the truth. Do you know why? The organizations that killed the most Jesus was the religious sect and the government. Those two groups is one who came after him. Am I right, family? Come on, am I right? Whether it was the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and whether it was Caesar and Pontius Pilate and them cats right there who were sending people to go ahead and try to hunt him down. Why? Because they was losing the masses of people's trust. And when the system loses the trust of the people, that means they're feared that they are about to lose their position. That means systems fall. That means their wealth goes by the wayside. So what do they got to do? They got to divide everybody up. Let everybody have their own rights so that people can never stand together in oneness. So that means you can be in part of the gay group. You can be part of the black group. You can be part of the white group. You be part of this institution. You be part of this organization. You can be part of that right there, because nobody will ever stand up together in unity for what's right. And the masses are the ones who are leading. But thank goodness, the power of the Most High will always, in the spiritual realm, there's a war going on, will keep it at bay. That's why I'm saying, for those who want to stand up for what is right, you might be persecuted. You know, my brother tonight said this right here. He's like, we had to make the decision. We had to negotiate because of the fact that there was wars and there were people dying. I thought that if you died, it was to gain. That's what scripture says. To die is to gain. What are you afraid of dying? Dying what? Oh my God, we're dying. No, you got afraid of dying. That's why those who take control. Guess what? North Korea or Vietnam, they kicked the butt out of America, who had more weaponry and all that right there. And guess what? They were fighting with the same type of stuff that Africans was fighting against the Europeans. They had old school guns and had spears, but they were very wise, just like our brothers and sisters in Africa was too. We knew the land. We knew how to strategically go up against an enemy. The problem of it is that when you have sellouts and then you have missionaries come in the name of God, and you tell people you're sinning because you're wearing these Zulu outfits that are showing your nakedness. You need to put clothes on. And here's some trinkets for you. Here, you know what they got them with first, which I love today: beer, alcohol. If you look and read the history, they said one of the easiest things to get the African was to give him alcohol. Do you know why they call alcohol spirits? I don't see it around here. Y'all got liquor, but look at it. Alcohol is called spirits. See, it'll keep you mundane. It'll keep you in a stupor. It will keep you ignorant while they're taking over everything, while they're scouting out your land. You see, it still happens today. I call them white YouTubers who can come into Africa, go into the slummiest places that they call it, can come into your villages, and you allow them just to prance on in and give you $1 to stand in front and put on a Zulu suit and act like y'all getting married, and they make millions. And then push that same agenda around the world and say, see the Africans right there, the Zulu tribe, the strongest Zulu tribe is marrying gay folks. Happens today. Why? Because we're ignorant. Oh, we love everybody. It's our land. This used to be our continent. How is it America can call it their country and who are the ones in charge? Why is Europe can call it their country, but now all of a sudden now here in Africa, it's our land. It's everybody's land. I thought most African countries I I go around, they call themselves Africans. In South Africa, it's amazing because you got the Europeans who's come around here. Y'all call yourself black. Yeah. That is a strategic move, which I said that I told you all, I was told I wasn't black by the Most High when I was the age of 38. And I don't look at myself as black. I'm a spiritual being that is from the Most High. I'm the Son of God in the Spirit. This is a point or a signpost of the continent I come from. But they want to do that and say black. Look, if we're so ignorant in that we fell for the lie, I'm brown. This is black. But they want to go ahead and put that across the rainbow of so-called colored people. So your South Africans here who are called color are a lighter skinned people. But they're still Africans, but we fell for the lie. We fell for the lie. And as long as we're stupid, we can admit the fact that we are black. No, you do have some Africans that are dang near close to black. But aren't we Africans? We were never ever looked at ourselves as such, called ourselves black. We called ourselves, I'm Zulu. I'm Osos. How you do it? I'm this, I'm Kori, I'm this, I'm that. That represented the tribe. Our panel even said, when a boy is born or a person is born, you fall and you are recognized by the lineage of the father. Does anybody know why? I won't go in that. You'll figure it out, though. You'll figure it out. What chromosome does a girl does not get from which parent? See if somebody know any things. Which parent does a woman do not receive from which chromosome that a woman does not receive from which parent? And it's coming from which parent? Who? Is it the woman doesn't receive what chromosome from which parent? Because my thing is this right here. If you want to talk about the lineage, if you want to talk about these things of why is what is, you got to know. But my thing is this right here. We have to stop listening to other people's stories. You can take it for face value. I'll never forget when I was a young little man. My mom used to tell me, son, believe half what you hear, half what you see, and half what you read. I never could understand it until I got an adult. And when I understood that, what I understood and what opened my eyes up was that when I was in the military and I was able to be working in certain places that had high clearances, I saw that the truth was not necessarily being shared out to the public. And yet the public believed what the story was being told. Not everything is truth. Sometimes you have to go and find truth. Or open up to find that the truth is within you, but you have subscribed to other people's truth. So in closing, let me see here. In closing, yeah, I touched on that. I touched on them. Family, I'm saying right now, we need to go black to Africa. And when I'm saying go black to Africa, if you read the ancient writings, it specifies where the Garden of Eden and where man began. It specifically says it. If you read the first chapter of Genesis, it will tell you where the Garden of Eden was. Most definitely. The simplest thing, it will even tell you the role of a man and a woman. Something as simple of knowing what the man of a woman is, and we can't even define that today. Maybe I get into that too, because I thought about that too. I didn't say I thought about it, but that was brought on my spirit today. Because people need to understand that what we see today, the battle between man and woman, Anyway, family, thank you for those who have come in, those who have came on the panel and discussion. Much respect to our brothers and our sister who was on the panel today. You know, everybody got an answer. And really, it should be all about one, the Most High. What does the Most High say? Who cares what I think and say? Who cares? I'd rather stand on what is of righteousness that makes all the perfect sense to me when you start talking about how life is in the right of way things have been created, which was good, than way the things that of man who has created, which is not of good. I'd rather stand on that side. But thank you very much for y'all coming in. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for your kind blessings. Thank you to each and every one of you all. Let's disconnect and sever the cord from the umbilical, sever the umbilical cord from the system and get back in the right standing of the Most High. I believe because of the fact that I did it, my life has never been the same. I believe and know beyond believing, I know that to be true in my pattern of life that I walk, to the way that I am as an individual, that the Most High is in me, keeps me from corrupting you, lying to you, stealing from you, cheating on my wife, keeps me from doing evil things. This is the Most High that is in me. Because back in the day, without the Most High, I would have got you. This is your man, not your boy. Go Black to Africa. Peace out, family.